Yeah, they ain't gonna stay up. My folks are old.
That's right. That's right.
They said talk early.
All right,
Talk early.
we'll go ahead and get started and let people be joining on as they come.
Y'all banter for.
We're gonna banter for
15 more seconds.
It's about 50. Well, we got some of them on there. Guys, welcome to Thursday night's Livewell here at Fish North Georgia. We definitely want to thank you for spending your time with us. We've got a great episode in store tonight, and also a couple of little nuances, a little twist tonight that we're going to do. Got the boys from Backwoods Fishing here. Got Jeremy Mullinax and Mickey Wheeler back in the house. They've been on before. And we're going to be discussing some situations going on with Carter's Lake that I think you'll be interested in, because it's something that could happen on any lake, and some of the things that they've been seeing out on the water here lately. And got Ryan in the background, don't know exactly what he's doing, but
what am I drinking?
He's drinking a mini Coke that his hand's swallowing.
That's a 12-ounce can, just so y'all know, Ryan.
That's it. Big. He's that big. Yeah, look at that. There you go. So, Doug Phillips, Bobby Underwood, how you doing? And, again, if you're watching this at a later date on YouTube, again, we thank you for your time doing that as well. So, let's kick a little business out of the way. We'd like to thank NoFo Brewery and Distillery for sponsoring the show, and make sure that you tap your adventurous side and check out I'm in the middle of this. Check out their fine selection of craft beers. I want you to join their Crowler Club. Check this thing out. It's an annual membership, and you receive one Crowler every month of their featured beer. You also get a limited edition NoFo Brew pint glass and a Crowler koozie.
Got sugar in them.
You don't do sugar?
No.
Me neither. There you go. So it's $149 a year.
Are you really? That ain't good, brother.
NoFo's located just north of coming on Highway 400. You tell the guys at Fish North Georgia
you'll pass out. Trust me. I've been there.
Are you diabetic? Hypoglycemic. All right, well, we'll get into that. We'll get into that too. And I also want to get the word out again about Jimbo's Southern Outdoor Fishing Expo. It's going to be January 14th, 15th, and 16th. It's going to be at Lanier Tech. And it's going to be $10 at the door. And True Grit and Fish North Georgia will be there, as well as a lot of other local vendors and some great national companies. And that Friday night, we're going to do a special episode of the Livewell that Friday night from there. And at some point during the day, Saturday, we're going to do another one as well. So you guys make sure that you did you know that?
Well, I won't be here.
What do you mean you ain't going to be here?
I've been fishing.
You fishing that Saturday?
When?
Jimbo show.
Oh, no.
That's right.
I got work.
You got to work. That's right. That's right. At Jimbo's Fishing Show. So, again, what's up, Nathan?
He's got to make an appearance.
He's got to make the appearance.
I got to sign autographs.
That's what it's going to do. So, he'll be there. And, guys, it's a good thing. There's going to be a lot of local companies there in addition to us. Georgia Blade, Lanier Baits. But you'll have your Hummingbirds, Seagars. I'm sure Hammonds and all of them will be there. So, you guys, are you done with the nuts now?
Yeah.
Are you done eating Steve's nuts?
Steve's nuts.
Okay, good. So we can get on with the show.
Lord help us.
Step away from the nuts. Scotty Edwards, Boss Man, David Newcomb, good to see you guys tonight. So,
That's right.
want to remind you guys on our Fish North Georgia group page that we've got the guide auctions, the bid trips still going for the Nathan Hurd benefit, and we're going to be doing those until next Thursday night's episode. All right, and then we're going to announce the winners, and that night we're going to do the drawings for the raffles. For the sporting one is for the Springfield Saint AR-15, and the fishing one, you'll have the Revo reel and some other prizes along in that fishing thing like that. So that's next Thursday night, December 9th. And I talked to your boy there, Paul, today, Tad. I talked to Tad.
Yeah.
Tad's going to be on next Thursday night.
Outstanding.
And we're going to delve into the trout world a little bit. But the cool thing about this is not only does he fish and do stuff like that, he's a how do we want to say it?
A bona fide fisheries biologist.
Fisheries biologist.
Well, we need to take him to Carter's.
Yeah, well, he's going to be on, so you can pop some questions. And if you watch next Thursday, you can ask some questions. He might be able to answer them. I don't know. So if you're a Facebook user, make sure you go to www.streamyard streamyard.com/Facebook. I think I said it right that time. And put your name in there so that we can recognize you as something other than Facebook users. So, Frank's Fishing, how you doing? Coker, we see you there. We are auctioning off a Kyle Rittenhouse special, I guess, if that's what you want to call it. Yes. So that will be next Thursday night. So you guys tune in. And tonight, during the show, all right, this is going to start right now as in the comment section, you guys can bid. We talked about it Tuesday night. We got basically 3 live auctions going on, and every one of this, every bit of money that we're going to raise tonight is going to go to the Hurd family as well. You've got the cast. I think Paul's going to pull up the picture right now. Of the,
Gotta find it.
you got to find it. We got we'll wait for him on that. He's looking up them fishing pictures. But we've got 2 Daniel Truitt's custom lure painting gift cards for $100 a piece. All right. And you guys, if you're around the Lakeland area, you know his work. He does some great stuff. All the guys know about him, and it's some quality stuff. So each one of these is worth $100. All right, and we're going to actually start the bidding off, and you guys can bid all day long and just go up with it. However, there's no set amount that you got to go up with it. We're not going to be in whole dollars, so don't do it in cents. But we're going to start the bidding off on both of these. Dane, good grief, what's Dane's last name? Ryan? Hunter. It was escaping me. Dane Hunter has already bid $25 on each one of these. So here's what you're going to do. If you're interested in the gift card, you can bid number 1 and number 2 because they're basically 2 different auctions. So you can say $30 number 1, and we'll keep track with it that way. So both of those start off at $25 a piece. Now we've got the cast grouping that is 2 one-of-a-kind.
Here we go.
Here we go. He's going to cover me up right here. He's going to cover my face up. Right there in your screen, you see right there, you're going to get a cast hat and those 2 30-gram OGs that are one-of-a-kind. Nobody else will ever have one of these. You'll be the only one. One of the colors is a Casper herring. That's on top, and the bottom one is a copper trout. All right. Now, Dane Hunter also started bidding off of those at $125. So, in the comment section, if you guys want to bid on those things, I'm telling you, the custom paints are awesome. We've got some Stunners and some Sabills up here that you just got to see them in person. Pictures don't do them justice. You definitely, if you got old, anything old or Sabill, stuff like that, you want them painted, he does the best job that I have seen around here, and that's just my opinion, but it's also opinion of a lot of local people. Alex Pears, he definitely can do that. So those are $25 a pop, starting bid number 1 and number 2, and then the cast thing, we're going to start at $125. So you figure with a hat and all, that's basically you're right there about $100 in retail value on that. If not, actually, if you go on their website, it's a little bit more. So that comes out to about $125. So there you go, Timothy Logan. We appreciate it. And every dime is going to go to Nathan Hurd and his family to help him out. For those that don't know about this, he's a local here that was injured in a getting ready for hunting season. Took a big fall out of a tree stand. That's what all these guide trips were doing. That's what this is about. I want to thank my church, Etowah. We gave some money to him. I was able to deliver that. All this stuff is going to help him out. You know, he's got 2 kids, 1-year-old and a 3-year-old and a wife. And so anything we can do to help their holiday season and help with some medical bills, that's what we're here for. So about middle through, we're going to have a question of the week. And for a Fish North Georgia hat.
We ain't done that in a while.
We ain't done it in a while. Actually, you know what I was going to do? I was going to make you sing tonight.
You don't want me singing.
Yeah, but especially listen. I really had some songs I was gonna make you
Mickey,
sing.
oh Mickey, you're so fine, you blow my mind, hey Mickey.
Man,
130 for
I
the
thought this
cast,
was a
so,
fishing show.
Oh man.
we still might pull a rabbit out of
No.
her hat right there. So
Y'all gotta pay me if y'all want me to sing.
I ain't paying nobody now. If I ain't getting paid, you ain't getting paid. So
Bring that down.
yeah, we're gonna do that. I might think of something about halfway through. But anyway, we're gonna do a question of the week, and I will tell you it's gonna be related to Carter's. That's all I'm gonna tell you right there. And it should be one simple one that you guys can, but it's gonna be for a Fish North Georgia hat, and we'll get you your. Somebody's calling me. I need to make sure my phone's turned off right there, shouldn't I? And we're gonna make sure. Skipper Bryant said, "Please don't do that." You know,
Skipper's my buddy.
is he your buddy?
I
Hey,
love him.
Skipper, what
Hey,
you doing?
Yeah.
I tell you, if y'all ever want to meet a comedian, Skipper's missed his calling.
He's one of a kind.
If we had time, we would get in some of the videos that me and him's filmed fishing together.
I'm glad you put fishing together. I'm glad you added that. So for those of you that don't know, to my left, this is Jeremy Molinax. All right, right here to my left, and
Say hello to the people.
say hello to Jeremy.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, everybody.
Yep.
He's the quiet one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Mickey
Mickey does
talking
most of
about
the talking.
Mickey does. He's here for the looks. Is that what you're saying?
No,
You're here for-
I'll loosen up.
You'll listen up. It takes him a little while, but he'll get going. And of course, we got Mickey Wheeler across from me. And as always, I've got Ryan here who has enough energy to do the show. I've been working him hard here lately. So you got tomorrow off, though.
Mhm.
Gonna go fishing.
Mhm.
He's got his classic 2-day tournament this week, so he's got to go prepare like a pro.
There you go.
And then he'll come in on Monday and he'll be fussing because it didn't work out the right way.
He never does.
I hope you win, though.
I'm gonna try.
I love to help you win. So anyway, make Paul sing. Ooh, that might be an idea. We might get Paul in here to sing. But anyway, guys, you guys keep bidding. I'm gonna keep reminding you up. So, and like I said, even if it's $1, I don't care. We just want to give them some money, and I think we'll get a little honor and a little glory to the man up above if we can help a family out this time of the year. So, with that being said, y'all ready to talk?
We ready?
I know you are. Let me ask you this, Jeremy, you ready to talk?
I'm ready to talk, listen, whatever.
There you go. All right. You know what's wrong with him? He's over here going like, "Oh God, I don't want to sing." He's scared.
Oh, I'm not going to sing. You don't have to worry about that.
Don't worry about that.
Hey, listen, you just got to
You
do
don't gotta
what you
worry
got to
about
do.
that.
Ryan, show Danny the picture of your injured thumb.
Hey,
I can do that right now. I'll do it.
I can probably top yours tonight.
What's wrong with your thumb, big guy?
I'll do that later.
Huh?
I'll do that
Well,
later.
just let me ask before we get going: Is the injury related to work?
It could be.
Could be. All right, there we go. All right, so we'll do that. So anyway, guys, we're going to talk about Carter's Lake. All right, this is their home lake. You guys, I tell everybody a little bit that don't know you about what you do on Carter's, and then we'll get into the meat and potatoes of the conversation.
Well, Jeremy and I, we both, I've been fishing the lake since the late 90s, mid 90s, regular. And, to me, it's one of the truest trophy lakes that we still got in the state of Georgia.
Right.
Due to the gill maggots and everything in Lanier and getting up into the Hartwell and places like that. Hadn't seen many in Notley, but they've had several fish killed off in the last couple years, and the trophy size fish are dwindling.
Now we're talking stripers.
Stripers.
Carpet tuxedos.
Not
strippers.
Not strippers. Public service
STRIPER.
One P. I don't know how many guys want to know where can you catch strippers around here.
It's a public service announcement. It's striper.
It is
Well,
stripers.
You wouldn't believe how many
When you-
calls and messages I get about.
Strippers.
You put it on your
Stripper
phone, and this new spell correct comes up,
Yeah.
and every time it just goes ahead and spells it out. If you
Yeah.
ain't careful, that's what it writes.
Listen, I know, and I don't want any stripper stuff on my phone or Facebook because
No.
my wife checks it every once in a while. And I'm like, baby, I don't know what they're talking about. I promise you, and I don't know where to find them either. So there you go if you're watching.
Well, we've just seen a decline all across the state. You can catch numbers at Notley. You can catch numbers at Lanier. When I say numbers, I mean them boys in the summertime. Sometimes, they're taking 12 dozen baits and they're running out.
Yeah.
Now we're not going to do that on Carter's. Never.
Right.
And we might run out of bait, but we're never going to catch 40 fish.
Right.
If you do, you're the man. I'll just say it like that.
Right.
But we still have some trophy fish in the lake. Not as many as we used to. They're fishing totally different than they have in the last 5 years.
Right. Yeah. And we're gonna get into that.
We're going to get into that. But
Yeah.
we're taking folks out that don't get to fish like most folks.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them do, and they just want to pay for a guide trip, and that's more than dandy, But we're taking folks out that's never, a lot of them, I've had several folks this year say, well, you need to teach us how to fish. We don't know how to fish, and
Right.
we've got 4 to 6 hours. Most of the time is all they'll fish, and, you can't do a lot of teaching in 4 to 6 hours and catch fish.
That's correct. Yeah.
But we try our best. That's all you can do.
Right. And I'm gonna let Jeremy warm up his vocal cords here by telling everybody. Go ahead and shout out your social media and stuff, and where people can find Backwoods Fishing guys and stuff, where we can do that.
Yeah, they can, first off, they can go to our website, which is www.backwoodsfishingguide.com. And then we've got our Facebook page, Backwoods Fishing, and then Instagram. We've got all that good stuff. So I don't know as much about it as some people do, but we got
Right.
it.
That's what I say. We got all that good stuff.
Yeah.
Paul is the master of all that stuff back there. So, and Ryan's pretty good at it as well. So, let's jump right into what you and I, or us, were talking about in my office upstairs about some of the problems that you're finding right now on Carter's Lake, because a lot of people, we get the Lanier crowd here a lot. And, granted, it's more spotted bass and more bass fishing.
Well, they don't have the problem that we got,
Yeah.
by no means.
Right.
Used to,
They got problems,
They
but
had-
it's different kind of problems.
Yeah.
They got
What's up,
gill
Farmer?
maggots.
Yeah.
Jim Farmer?
No, not Jim. That's Jonathan.
Oh.
That's Jonathan. He might as well be Jim. Everybody thinks they're related like that. So, but
That's my buddy Jim
is
Farmer.
that his daddy? Yeah. But on Lanier and a bass fishing, to kind of get into this conversation, what we were talking about, they'll pull into a ditch or something like that. And if it ain't got bait, they turn around and leave, and they'll go
That's
around
what
till they
they ought to
find
do.
bait. Now, y'all have what we were discussing, the opposite problem on Carter's.
Yeah,
Tell
too
everybody
much
about
bait.
that. Too much bait. I've never
Well,
heard about too much.
I mean,
bait.
we like to do the same thing. Jeremy and I both cut our teeth on Lanier. I was down there for 30 years of my life.
Right.
And, we all learned how to fish on Lanier, and the ditches and all that, we do the same thing on Carter's.
Mhm.
We don't have as many ditches and stuff like that as what y'all got, but we have creek channels and stuff, and you get into the creek channels now, and as soon as you hit right now this time of year, you start getting on a 70, 60 to even a 50-foot bottom. If you ain't seeing no bait, something's wrong.
Right.
You're in the wrong spot. I'll tell you that right now, because when
Bait's
we start,
not hard to find.
yeah, when we start into most any creek this time of year, and you can pick any of them. Once you start hitting that magic number around 50 foot, the bait is just stacked up, gorged. I mean, Jeremy and they've got a screenshot they'll show you in a minute, but we're seeing bait 25 and 30 foot thick.
And the bait is
L-wise.
L-wise.
Most of it. I mean, we've got threadfin too,
And
but most people that have fished a lot, they understand that, nature takes care of shad.
yeah,
Every couple years, ever so often, it gets cold enough that shad die off.
Mhm.
And that kind of takes care of itself. But the L-wise are just like the blueback herring have been in a lot of other lakes. They don't die off, and Mickey can vouch for. It gets more and more every year that we fish. We see more and more bait. We don't see this amount of bait on any other lake that we go to. We see more bait and less fish at Carter's, where other places you go, you see a lot more fish and less bait. And normally those places it's easier to catch them.
Gotcha.
That's what we've been experiencing. For what do you think, Mickey? I mean, the L-wise have been around a pretty good while, but it's gotten
it's been
worse.
in for at least, I know they've been there for probably 10 to 15 years.
and how did they get in there?
Don't know. They just
Illegally.
mysteriously
And
showed
they're
up
not-
overnight.
so-
They didn't
not
mysteriously.
native.
Somebody put them in there. They didn't mysteriously show
Well,
up.
it's just
Right.
odd to me that the Gitter Shad die off and the LY showing up at the same time. And everybody says that let's go back some. Let's go back to the 90s, okay? We had threadfin herring.
Was you born yet?
I was born in '90. Yeah.
I'm just wondering. Okay.
Throw off on me, that's okay. I got thick skin.
Listen,
Hey,
when
we
you're a
parked-
guide, let me say this: when you're a guide, you got to be thick skinned.
Listen, we were talking about you went to school with my aunt. She wasn't but like a couple years older than me. So
Hey, Mickey's so old. We parked in the handicap spot outside.
Yeah.
that's normally my parking spot. But yeah, I'll let y'all have it. It's reserved for.
Okay, the Gitter Shad, they get from anywhere from that big, 2-inch fry that the fish love, till 12 to 14, 16-inch
Sure,
shad.
you're Ryan. Yeah, Ryan's got
And,
it right
and
there.
them
That's
big
it.
old producers produce a lot. And, everybody says, well, there was too many, and, once they get so big, nothing can eat them. That's foolish. The big predator fish would rather eat one time, I think, than eat a million times.
Right.
And you can, boys, I'm telling you, and everybody knows it from Lanier, all my fishing buddies, you come springtime, we're pulling the biggest bait we can get. You just can't get them too big.
Well, and that's how we grew up,
Yeah.
learning how to fish, learning how to target big fish, big bait, big fish. But things have changed a lot with these herring.
Dramatically. with a herring.
Now you fish herring. You know you're gonna catch smaller fish you can't keep from it, but you'll catch bigger ones too.
Yeah.
But you know, there used to be a lot of gizzard shad in Carter's, and we had a big shad kill. They've just never come back like they used to be. There's some in there, but it's covered up with the alewives, and you know I don't have the answers for all of it. But
Where's the alewife native to?
It's in the herring family, you know. Just
it's
What did
it's
he
an
say?
up north.
Europe?
Europe.
Oh, okay. There you go.
how
I got to
how
do
did they
this.
get in Carter's?
I got
Lake?
hey,
Great Lakes.
I got to do this for my church
They're in the
family.
Great Lakes,
Okay,
too,
yeah.
in
The
Michigan.
last time we was on the show, I said alewife, and I started spelling it, and I said something like that, and they've been giving me a hard time.
So
I have caught
what is-
slack.
What is the proper way to spell?
Well, it's actually got two. I'm going to spell the
We found it two ways.
yeah.
We still don't know. which way is
ALEWIFE
Right.
is alewife. Okay, and that's why if you hit Google or something like that, that's where it comes up. But then it's got ALEWIVES, wives, and another thing. So I guess the wives would be plural.
That's what I was going to say.
Uh,
I got a question right here. Is I don't stunt. Where should I throw a walking bait? And I want you to comment again right there and ask if this is a Carter specific. Throw a walking bait on Carter's, and if it's on another lake, we'll definitely answer that as well. I just want to make sure when we give you the answer, it's to the right body of water that you're fishing. So,
well, you
continue.
can throw that on any lake. It depends on what the fish are doing at the time. I mean,
So, do you ever throw topwater for stripers?
oh yes, sir. But we hadn't seen, because of the
There
There
again,
again,
because of the alewives.
because
because of the
alewives,
alewives,
deep.
they go down,
Yeah.
and they're hard to push up to the top unless we have a spawn.
Okay.
And most of them are thread fin. Then you'll see some top water action.
Hey, Paul, can you pull up that screenshot for me?
Love to.
Thank you. I want to show you guys this. Jeremy sent me this, and if you look in the top right corner,
Can you blow that up for him?
I don't know if he can or not. I probably should have did a little
You
bit
might
better
want to
job.
block out that map because that's Mickey's.
Hey, hush now!
Oh,
You didn't have to give that information.
We can't give out Mickey's number.
If you look on the right hand side of that, the bottom is right about 40, 45 foot, and the top of that bait ball goes all the way up to probably 12 foot, 13 foot, somewhere like getting
Now
close
that
to the 10
could you
range.
somebody just give me a number of how much bait that could
And
possibly
that's
be?
in one
Millions
spot.
and millions of rock.
Now that's not y'all. This is not like on Lanier. You'll see that little ball of thing, and it might cover 10, 15 feet.
Yeah,
you know.
that's
No,
Thread-
I'm talking about acres,
Yeah.
acres and acres,
I love when I get old country boy in here, acres.
and a bait like that.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, but now let me tell you what most
He's
people
fixing
don't
to get
know.
wound up.
Here we go.
There's
Let's go.
fish inside that. Not that screenshot,
Right?
but that's the reason I run my down image. If you'll look down there on mine, Jeremy sets up a little different than mine. Thank you, Troy, for setting mine up. But mine shows a white dot for the fish. Okay, like where his is, you see his sonar shot up there at the top, and then his down image at the bottom. I got mine set up with blue and white. Okay. And my bait and my fish will show up as a white dot on my down image. And what you will see in mine is if there's a fish in the middle of that one little bright spot would be brighter than the rest of them.
Now, on this image right here, if we look at the bottom right, that hole right there.
That's the down image.
Okay, on that down image, is that a fish going through that bait?
It
Yeah,
could. I
could
can't.
be.
I'm not got my glasses ain't that good, but if I was on a lake, I could tell you whether or not there was fish in there.
Fish in that,
But it's virtually impossible
right?
to get a fish to bite. Okay, let's say like this is what I tell all my customers, and when they're saying they just cannot believe that the bait is that thick.
Right.
And like this past Saturday, y'all, I had bait like that continuously for 5 hours. Okay, but I was all over fish. Them fish would be mixed in with that bait.
Uh-huh.
I caught 4, but that was 4 in 6 hours. Okay, and I probably had multiples. I'd say 100 fish schools in that at one time, and the rod they'd come up, look at the rods, and go right back down. My thinking is that we've got so much bait. And these fish are optimistic, just like me and you. If we think you let a church cooking, everybody and the brother shows up. You know what I mean?
True. That is true.
These fish,
That's
Bring
the
a
best-
covered dish.
Bring a
Come on.
covered dish. I am a casserole fish.
Well, you know what I'm saying, but I think these
beans
fish
back.
are no different. I think they can just open their mouths, swim through there, gorge themselves, and then they're done. I mean, it's just like me and you ain't no
They ain't
different.
gonna
I mean,
sit
it
back
don't
and watch
take a
football.
rocket scientist. If somebody knows, how to get fish to bite in this, I'd like to know without pulling out a stick of dynamite.
Well, the only way that we figured out is being in the right place at the right time.
Right.
I mean, and
I
that's,
mean,
that's
it's so
easier said
much
than
of a
done.
timing thing.
It's crazy, really. You should be able to find fish, locate them, go back to them places at least for a couple days or a week or so.
Right.
Man, these fish, ever since these LYs have got in here, they're constantly moving, and that makes it even tougher on us. That's one big thing that we've seen change from the last 10, 15 years
Yeah.
I've been fishing, probably more.
Especially in the last 2 to 3 years.
Just too much bait in the lake.
I really think, and
It's a problem. I think whoever introduced these things to the lake didn't realize that it was going to get like it has. But
They
it's
never really think much past the short term, what they're trying to do.
well,
They
and
don't think about the
I
long-term
don't
consequences.
really know what the purpose was, what the reasons was. I know you can go in Tennessee and Kentucky and different lakes and catch them. People have been using them, or for bait and seeing them in other lakes or whatnot. But it's definitely changed our lake, which we've learned to adapt to it, and
Right.
we've.
you adapt or you go down. I mean, that's just all there is to it.
Does the spotted bass anglers benefit from this, or you think it hurts them just as
Oh,
well?
Oh, it hurts them just as well.
Jeremy and I have a very good relationship with most everybody on the lake. There may be some folks out there that don't like us, and
They're everywhere. They're everywhere.
you can't please everybody. But I've never tried to hurt anybody intentionally. And we all talk, and I mean, I'm friendly with them. Big, I say, how you do today, but everybody I talked to this year, after we get done with our trips and we're loading the boats and stuff, and the bass fishermen fish about the same hours we do, they say, boy, man, it's just different. We had a great spring. Winter was okay, and then all of a sudden, it started around Memorial Day. We got all the rain.
Mm-hmm.
And then we was getting temperatures where they was starting to rise. Most of the time, Memorial Day weekend, the fishing's fired up. I mean, me and Jeremy always tells everybody, May and June is our best months most of the time. Them fish start to group together. But, Memorial Day weekend, 30-something degrees. If you remember, we had that warm spell,
cold.
and then we got rain again.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it just, Jeremy.
Didn't the lake
you correct-
flood?
Well, it's come close,
Come close.
numerous times in the last 10 years.
Oh
Right.
yeah.
And
We got a couple good questions. One guy said, "Are you following loons and gulls?"
Yeah.
Well, one thing, we don't see many seagulls,
No.
so that don't help.
they'll
us.
show up every now and then, and we do have some gulls, but I'm not going to stake my reputation on following Lanier. If you see gulls diving and swatting everything, you better get over there fast.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
But it's different up there.
But well, we got so much, it's everywhere.
We got some.
That's true. That's true.
I'm not exaggerating.
Well, there's been times where I've seen loons diving, and you go to them. Sometimes there'll be fish around bait. Sometimes it'll just be bait, and the loons there's too much bait.
But
I mean, that's the
this
biggest-
time of year, y'all, all our bait's deep. You're not going to see it. What, Jeremy? Shallow, you've seen it in the last 2 weeks, 30 foot?
40 foot.
30, 40 foot? So,
that makes it a little bit difficult. Let me read this comment because we're talking about a nice shirt, Ryan. No, Kevin wanted to say he's representing you, buddy, right there. Always representing you. Let me read this comment from. I don't even really know how do I want to pronounce that. Ewe2K.
He always comments.
He always comments, but
Ewok.
Ewok.
Well,
Well, we're gonna say Ewok.
I've
okay.
already read that, and what he said is basically my point that I'm trying to get across is what apparently he's done some research about.
The
It
Pacific
says
salmon.
where Pacific salmon were introduced to control the number of LYs. That's where I feel like we're at Carter's. There's
See
no,
how many salmon.
well,
yeah, the
I'd be
only,
happy. They fight.
the only thing that's going to control the LYs is the stripers, in my opinion. And I'm a striper fisherman.
It's affecting y'all more so than us, okay? And I'm going to ask this question, and all you bass guys can respond. But I can see in the summertime, y'all, there's nothing unusual for us to catch spots never used to happen. Now we can catch them in 70 to 80 foot in the
Oh, yeah.
late spring, early summer. And
I caught one
now
60 foot today.
yeah, and
on
now we're
spoon.
seeing them in the wintertime too. They're used to fishing the ditches. Most of the ditches are anywhere from 40 to 50 foot.
What's so Hickory Flat? Want to say hello to you, Aaron Russell. How you doing? Lipstick or fishing, of course. And Brian. What about Brian's idea right there? Stock it with smallmouth.
Spots.
They tried it on Blue Ridge,
Spots.
Uh,
That happen.
The spots are everywhere, man.
and the
Yeah.
spots is so much more aggressive, I
They're
guess.
bullies. They'll bully.
We're
small
seeing schools of spotty bass in places where we seeing stripers.
They run together.
Hundreds, at least 100 spots in a school, maybe
Good
more.
Lord,
Big schools of spots in
Beasley
Carter's, man.
right there.
Beasley.
Yeah.
That would be
Good luck
Beasley's
on
deal.
catching them.
And somebody said, would more walleyes help?
Let's talk about that because you mentioned this up. Listen to this right here, Danny, about the walleye. We talked about this before the show.
All right, so I don't know exactly how many walleye they've been stocking, like
A whole
say,
lot
over
more
the
than
past.
stripers.
But all right, this past spring,
250
I run
in
into
there,
the
2,000 in
to
there
the
this
to the
past year.
guys stocking at the boat ramp, and I thought they had stripers or hybrids, and I asked them what they was stocking. They said, "No, we got 48,000 walleye.
Yeah.
That was put in this past year." I know they've been stocking it for a long time.
Right.
I don't know how much, but
I started seeing them,
and they're in there. We catch some
early
nice
to mid
walleyes,
2000s.
but they are not controlling the herring population.
So they're not
By no
helping.
means.
They do eat herring because we've caught them on
And,
herring.
yeah, we've caught.
But
They like the big herring.
yeah.
And I'll tell you something. Put Gitter Shad back in there because when I caught my first one, it eat an 8-inch Gitter Shad and swallowed it whole. So the theory still works. Big fish eat big baits.
Right.
Uh,
How big does the alewife get?
I caught one 11 inches one time.
11 inches. So they get fairly large.
Well,
Big.
now there is some blueback in there. I don't care what anybody says, and the bluebacks get bigger.
Well, most people couldn't tell the difference,
No,
but they're both herring. They both do the same. They affect the lake the same way.
Right.
So everybody says, "Well, you're not supposed to fish bluebacks up there," but we're covered up with alewives. So I don't fish bluebacks just because you're not supposed to, but the alewives are everywhere. you
Is
know.
there any trout in Carter's?
yes,
Yeah, we've
we've
caught
caught
some
more
trout.
this year than we've ever caught.
That natural, or you think they were like?
I
bait left
think
over?
some of them, everybody striper fishes with trout, and some of them probably get loose or get thrown back into the lake. And then we have the river, and they stop the river, and occasionally I think sometimes when the water gets up, it can,
So,
get into the
so
lake.
I have a real question. I have a serious question. So y'all go fish with trout,
Yes,
for
sir.
example. What do y'all do at the end of the day when y'all
We-
are done
we-
with trout and say y'all have a handful of them
I'll
left?
take
We've
them
got
home.
tank-
Them
we've
things
got bait tanks
expensive,
at home.
bro.
Because
You talking po' boys over here, son.
The reason why I ask that is because I've seen people on Lanier
Well, they'll do it.
throwing trout
Yeah.
overboard at the end of the day.
I've
out
caught
of
them on
their bait
Lanier
tank.
too, and I'm not talking about in the late 70s, early 80s. I was old enough to remember that. You probably
I do,
caught the
yep.
tail end of it where
Yep.
everybody used to throw rooster tails. You go down to Charleston Park and that area right there. Everybody says the striper eat them up, but they just quit putting them in the lake. But
We didn't say you had to stop talking.
No.
No.
I was just telling you.
Danny
Fine.
said, "Can you net alewives?" Well, you can't keep. You're not supposed to. You're supposed to catch them on a sabiki rig if you use them for bait. But if you throw a net at Carter's Lake, like a lot of people do, you're gonna catch threadfin, but you can't keep from catching herring most of the time.
Right.
I mean, sometimes they're too deep that you don't get them, but most of the time you catch them in the net.
Gotcha.
So everybody's using them. I mean, they're in the lake.
you're just not supposed to have them in your possession off the lake.
Yeah.
Jeremy
I
and
think it's taking
Jeremy
them.
and I takes our bait tank, and everybody said, "Why don't you take them home so you ain't got to get up so early?" Well, they don't live well. They don't keep like blueback herring. You can keep them,
Gotta be
but
lively,
but
you won't get bit.
well, Jeremy and I's probably got $3,000 or $4,000 tied up in our bait tanks at home. I mean, if you ain't got that and you fish on cars, during the wintertime, you're
But
hurt.
we don't ever take alewives out.
No,
We'll catch 'em.
Why catch them when we can go over there and catch 6, 7 dozen in a couple hours next morning? I mean,
Shoot, I've caught that many in one throw.
yeah, it just all depends the time of the year.
Did you see that comment from Kevin right there? I seen 3 trout on the surface in Lanier 2 days ago. They were
Not
like a
dead
foot long.
trout.
No,
Not
not
dead.
dead
We're
trout.
talking live.
Live trout.
We don't throw out no live trout either because they cost too much. We take them home. We put them in our takes at home. With trout, as long as you've got a receipt proving where you bought them at a bait shop or whatever, they're legal. You're not supposed to catch them on a hook
No,
and then turn around and put them on a hook for bait.
no.
Oh, that's a good point. I
So
never
if you're
thought
gonna
about
fish
that.
with trout, you got to have a
Oh.
trout receipt. DNR stops you. They know you got trouts. First thing they're gonna ask for is a trout receipt.
And we know from our DNR visitor this week,
Mr.
that
Keener.
y'all see DNR probably every day, don't you? On Carter's.
No.
They're regular.
He said
They-
he said
they're
very
up there.
regular
He
up
said
there.
They're pretty
They're-
regular.
Well,
up there.
they probably, we're on the lake all the time. I've got checked twice last year, and they pull up to us, and you either hold up your card or something like that. I mean, they don't harass
I
us.
think they know you
He-
guys.
he
Once
told-
they
told
check our
us-
safety equipment, it's from there. It's just they know we have different people on our boat, so they check up on fishing license.
Yeah.
He told us the other day, he said, even if you think we're not there, he said on Carter's, he said, did he not? He said,
Well,
we're
they,
watching.
they set up on the banks, and they got other. I mean, I've been up there in times when there's 5 or 6 up there.
Yeah.
And I'm glad they're there because y'all.
Not saying
since
anything bad
COVID,
about him.
Yeah,
It's happened. We'll get into this, but since COVID happened, everybody and his brother's got a boat now.
yeah.
And I'm not saying that's bad. I mean, I love the water as much as anybody. But it's changed the fishing a little bit too. Everybody's depth finders pinging off and stuff like that, and a lot more folks on the boat.
Do y'all have any idea of what Matt Norton's comment right there is for? Tory or Megatory?
What is it? Where is it?
Matt, that
Do
is
you know him or
that yeah that's
okay? What were we talking about
yeah
there?
that's one of my buddies, Matt.
Okay, all right.
That's an insight. That's a something for another
Another
trip.
thing,
Yeah.
okay.
I want to hear about this
Yeah,
now.
let-
You got
Well, it can mean a lot of things. He's just
That's just Matt.
that's just Matt.
That's
yeah.
right. Bazilla World TV. That is a new name I've seen in the comments. Want to thank you for tuning in tonight. Let's read your comment right there. Fish Carter's Lake with 5 of my buddies 2 months ago. Man, what a learning experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm learning all the time. I mean, we have had to relearn the lake. I know I've had to. I feel like 3 or 4 times since I started because it's changed that much.
And the bait changes, and you have to adjust to
the
bait.
bait, the bait controls everything that we do.
Right?
We probably got, on any given trip this time of year, we got big baits, we got medium baits, we got smaller baits, and then we got little baits. And you just never know. I mean, I had to retie. I had the game plan Saturday morning, and I was going to fish big baits for an hour and a half. I talked to Jeremy, and, I told him, I said, I'm going to try it. I
Yeah.
said, this is my thing. This is what I like doing. I put a big spread of big baits out. I started back in the creek that I was in, and 50-foot bottom fish stacked everywhere. So you know what? If they're down there on the bottom, most of the time with all that bait, you're not going to get them to come up to the boards. Now, I've seen fish fly out of 60 and 70-foot water and hit a board. Jeremy has too. But this time of year, so I had to tie all my down lines on, get rods dropped.
Make the adjustment.
Hey,
on the
Make
fly.
I
the
sent
adjustment
you.
on the
I
fly.
sent you another screenshot of no bait, but just a school of fish.
Okay, I'm gonna pull that up and,
And-
send it to Paul.
Yeah, and because I want everybody to see that. That what he's fixing to show you is the kind of stuff that I seen even today. That I had, they swam under me, and I had baits all in them and couldn't get a bite. I know for a fact them fish had already fed.
This is Marble Hill technology right here as we do it. Let me
Yeah.
get it off my phone real quick.
Yeah.
Do we have an update on the? Has anybody been tracking up with the auctions that's
Bobby
going
Underwood
on?
was the last bid.
All right, so
We're 30, 30, and 130.
okay, so for the cast baits, again, the copper and the copper herring, or the Casper herring and the copper trout and the cast hat, one of a kinds. We're up to $130 right there. So again, you guys keep bidding on that. That all goes to the Herd family. And then these Daniel Truitt custom painted baits. I'm telling you guys, it's $100 on each one of these. You got 1 and 2. You're gonna get a good deal if you'll bid a little bit more. Let's see if we can get that on up from $30 to that. You will definitely be impressed with that right there. So, Mickey, I can't multitask, so you're gonna take over the show for a second
Okay.
while I send this picture. So
All right.
get to yapping.
Okay.
Hey, Mickey make a great host. For somebody that didn't know what a podcast was, you do a pretty good
That's right.
job,
You
man.
didn't know what it was last time,
No,
did you?
no.
And now you're like a seasoned veteran.
I just love talk fishing. y'all, this is what most people don't understand. When you get to do something that you truly enjoy,
Right.
it ain't work. You know, and I tell everybody, I've told my boys, you know, find something that you love and get good at it. I ain't saying I'm a good fisherman, but I try to be as good as anybody else out there. And I'm competitive. I can't help it. If we sit down and go and play checkers, I'm going to try to beat you. And all my buddies are the same way. Jeremy the same way. Me and Jeremy make a great team. We've never had an argument. But we're out there. I mean, we compete with one another, even though we're on the same team.
Right.
And I know he knows it, and I know it too.
Farmers
But what I want to get back, we talked about the alewives, and these alewives are going deeper and deeper than the fish are. And, you know, the deeper the fish go, the more volume of water there is and the harder they are to catch.
And spots or stripers.
Now with the gitter shad, you won't find, look at that. Now that's a school of fish.
I don't know if he's pulled it up yet.
We're not there yet. Keep
See,
going.
we're doing this on the fly, man.
So with the gitter shad, and I would strongly recommend, if we can get a good population of gitter shad back in the lake, our striper fishing would kind of normalize.
We gotta have more stripers.
Well, I know we got to have more stripers, but gitter shad ain't going, even in the winter time, they're not going to get much deeper than 40 foot, okay?
Right.
So if that bait is shallower and them fish come in, guess what? Them fish are going to be shallower.
And a little bit easier to catch.
And a little bit easier to catch them,
Well,
man.
the
And
gizzards like live 30 foot and up anyway.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
But see,
And-
but here's
and
my
I'm
thing.
gonna tell you, walleye eat them.
Yeah.
I've seen them. I mean, I've had 8 and 10 inch gizzard shad bit right in half, one bite. The board just stopped and it's bit in half.
But
That's walleye.
Mickey, the reason that the fish that we used to catch on shad, we could catch on shad is because that's what was there.
Yeah,
Now the fish that we're fishing on, all they've had to choose from, pretty much for the most part, has been the
But
herring. So
late
it's going to be
February,
hard.
March, and April. What's mean you got in our tank?
Well, you know how it is. You got shad fish and
Yeah.
you got herring fish.
Yeah.
You know
There's
what I'm
still
talking
there's
about.
any given lake. You can still go to Lanier and go in certain places, and now all the boys that fish stripers that's been fishing for some times know certain times of year they're going to the river. You know, the river, the quality of water in the rivers is a whole lot better than it is in the lake.
And the gizzard population up.
And the
is
gizzard
getting better.
population is better in the creeks and in the rivers. And
I seen some spawning under a dock a couple of years ago,
Yeah.
about 3 years ago.
Well,
I swear there was 200 of them.
I promise
Oh,
you,
yeah.
And they were all this big too.
we got a comment.
Let me do. Can you pull that? Which comment you gonna pull up? Because I want that one right there. He's at Timothy with that one right there. He was actually he's got $50 on number 2. Thank you. But also he's got a comment in there. If y'all don't mind me just doing this for a second. A lot of you guys in the North Georgia area that have been fishing for a long time, you know Terry Penley.
Yeah.
He ties his own jigs and stuff like that. A lot of people use him. He's very nice gentleman. I've had the pleasure of meeting him. He's come up to the store, as a matter of fact, several times over the past few months. Right now he's in the hospital with COVID, and he's got pneumonia.
He's got the pneumonia.
He's got
God
the
bless him.
pneumonia in there, and he's 78 years old. So, you guys, when you close your eyes tonight, please say a little prayer for Mr. Terry. It is, it's bad enough on a young person, someone that age. It's a very serious situation, and we definitely hope he recovers. And but y'all keep him in your thoughts a little bit. So that's just something. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I saw that comment, and that's definitely something we need to do. And that's for everybody. But we know Mr. Penley, and so we definitely want to keep him in our prayers. And Timothy's got $50 bid on the number 2 Daniel Truitt gift card, and so he's going to go to bed. It's late. He works at Chart. I know his rear end gets up about 3:30 in the morning, stuff like that. So keep Mr. Penley in your prayers like that. So we appreciate that. Now, with the alewives, how you get rid of them?
More fish.
That's the only solution. More
Well,
fish.
I mean, I'm not a biologist, but
we don't want them wiped out. Don't get me wrong. I mean, we're thankful that we got bait, but it's to the point where they're taking over,
Mhm.
and it's affecting. You know, everybody knows the walleye's hard to catch. Okay, we'll mark walleyes and we'll get a lot of bites, but actually putting them in the boat, and I know folks that's done this all their life, and they'll get out there troll and they'll catch some. and then they'll come back and they won't catch nothing, then you'll catch some. We're like that, certain times of year, and I've caught two myself over 10 pounds out of Carter's. I mean, monsters, beautiful fish. And I know that our biologist now is a diehard walleye guy.
Right.
And,
So we've been told.
So we've been
you've been
told.
told, yeah,
And, they're stressing putting that, but they're just not keeping up with it. And, we used to have a very good population of hybrids. And it was a class, I've been told there's two classes. Whatever class we're getting now is not the same class that we used to have.
So they can cross a hybrid. Obviously, they can cross it two different ways.
Yeah.
Because it's a white bass and a striper.
Right.
Mel, if they can do that either way. The ones we used to catch 13, 14, 15 pound hybrid.
I've caught one
don't have
over
that.
15.
And they're aggressive. They're aggressive.
Oh
too.
man,
heck yeah.
You're talking about the tuna of freshwater.
Yeah, I actually had a biologist tell us that even on smaller lakes that he would work
Well, see,
on,
they don't go as deep.
right, they would take, if you had like a 50-acre lake and they were stocking it for trophy fish and all that, that they would actually, if there was too much bait in that lake, they would actually put hybrids in it. Number one, because they don't reproduce,
Right.
and they would, but they'd only
Well,
put a
you could
handful
catch
in.
them all out.
We
you
get
know?
three, supposedly, from what the research I've done. And Danny made another good point. He said get Anthony from the DNR on the show. He could maybe add more fish. I mean, I don't know who's got the answer to it, but it needs to be looked at. I don't know that they know. And I told you earlier, I would be willing to take these guys out. If they want to go fishing, I'll get them on the boat. I'll take them out there and I'll show them what we're seeing, show
Any
them
of
why
us
we're
would.
concerned.
I mean, we love the lake,
Right.
y'all. It's Premier Lake, and it's known as a trophy lake. But it's getting disheartening when you go out there and you work your tail off, and you're doing everything right, and then no fish.
I understand that completely. I'll tell you what I can do tomorrow. Did you say you had that guy's email?
Yeah, I wrote it down on that.
Oh, did you write it?
Yeah.
Oh, you wrote
Mhm.
the email? I'll email him. I think that what might be pretty cool, we were talking with Keener,
Yeah.
the Keener, and he's
Bobby,
like, yeah,
or
is that his first name? I just know him as Mr. Keener. Right? He come
Yeah.
in with a
well,
gun.
there's
on
a
his-
cut. There's
He come in with a gun
First
and
thing,
a
first
badge.
thing
I
he
said,
asked
Mr.
me
Keener,
was,
how
have
you
you ever
doing?
broke any rules when you're doing any hunting or fishing? And I looked him dead in the eye and I said, yes.
it's better to be honest,
That's
That's
man.
what I said.
It's
When I
better to
seen,
be honest.
when I seen green britches,
I
said,
don't know.
yes.
You know the old saying, it's
Yes,
better to ask forgiveness than permission any
He
day.
actually told us this, that they can kind of tell. They'll ask you that, and they've been trained to look at your response.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
You
yeah.
know, and he'll say a lot of people go no.
Well, I
and they'll go,
told you
smile
before-
if you have, and those people kind
I told
of
you,
smile. Over
I done
there.
a trip. It's back in the spring, and I had 2 game wardens, and I thought, boy, this is my time to shine. I was wanting to show them our lake, and do and I did. I made my spiel to them about not having enough fish, and we caught some fish down there. But they're on another district, but they're just folks too.
Yeah.
They enjoy the same things that you and I get, and
Right.
I applaud them for the job they done. Somebody's got to do every single job.
Yeah, and I would like to talk to him more about. I've seen him out on the lake shocking,
Yeah.
but I'd like to talk to him more about what they're seeing
Right.
from their shockings. Because I know Carter's got to be a hard lake to shock as deep as our fish stay all the time.
No, Harmon, I had to laugh at that comment. James,
Hey, Mickey,
What?
Russ asked you a question.
what's up, bro? What do you do if someone's on your numbers?
It depends on who you are.
Well, let's just say it's somebody you don't like.
Well, I'm not going to
Ain't
run
nothing you
nobody
can
off
do.
there. If they beat you to this is the way I am, okay? And this is the way Jeremy is and everybody else.
Here we go.
We don't have spots. We really don't. Jeremy and I don't. Now, everybody says I like a certain spot, and we're not going to say it, and Jeremy knows where I like to fish. But if they beat me to the spot, they beat me to the spot.
Gotcha.
But what I don't like, if I'm sitting there on my numbers or trying to get numbers and somebody comes up there and tries to push me off my spot,
Right.
the hardest part about fishing is what? Think about it. Not catching. That's the easy part.
Russ, man, you're getting us all off the subject.
Fi-
Russ is getting us off
Finding the
subject.
fish.
Did our turkey call go
Yes.
off? For
That's what
those,
we're all talking about.
we got so
I'm having to grab my pen so I can.
we got I might have forgot to lock the door, so Michael say if he gets shot, y'all duck. We installed one of them ring things,
Too late.
a ring thing up there. camera and all that. Well, when Ryan's here by himself, there's a turkey call goes off anytime somebody comes in the door. So you go,
That was me and Josh when we were going through it. Me and Josh, we said, Josh pulled it up and said, and I said, do that one.
But the bad thing is, if somebody's trying to come in and out and they just stand there talking to me, they stand right there, it sounds like a flock of turkeys going crazy down here over and over again. So,
But you know,
Somebody said Mickey put some wipers in there, which is hybrids. What he's talking about.
Yeah.
What I was getting at earlier, and I got sidetracked, is right now we're getting 3 times as many hybrids stocked as we are stripers, but we're not seeing the effects of it. On a small lake, 30,000 hybrids, even if only 30-40% of them are living, we should be seeing more of them fish all over the
and you're
lake.
not seeing them.
3 or 4 years
Well,
ago.
I mean, you'll catch some, and you'll see some schools here and there, but nowhere near as many as we should be seeing for it to put a dent in that bait population.
Brother, we went from catching, and I'm going to tell the God's honest truth right here.
I believe you.
We went catching anywhere from 5 to 12 to 15 fish a day to 4 or 5.
It's gotten that tough.
And a lot of them would be hybrids. The hybrids tend to school up more than the stripers do.
Right?
I guess it's the white bass in them or something like that or whatever. And, if you get on school hybrids, man, it's fun. I mean,
Right.
I'm telling you, brother, every rod in the boat will go off and, they're 10, 12 pounds and they're going all kinds of different
Oh,
directions.
I would love it.
Total chaos.
I would love it. That's a good kind of chaos to have.
But it's just not happening. Now, we're
We,
still
we,
catching fish.
we have seen some really good fishing in the past.
Yeah.
And you can still go over there. I have people ask me all the time with booking trips, how's the fishing been? Well, it depends on what day of the week you go. And that's
Every
pretty
day's
much how
different.
Carter's always is.
Yeah.
You'll catch them 2 or 3 days over there and you're a hero. And then you go back over there the next day and you're a zero. And everybody you talk to experiences the same thing.
Right.
They have a
They either love it or
relationship.
hate it.
That's exactly what
Or both. We do
Yeah.
both.
And you talked about getting sidetracked because I'm the world's
The
worst.
bull sharks in there.
Put the bull sharks in it. That might do something.
They'll eat the striper.
We're going to get. I talked back to Keener. Did we call him the game warden? I mean, is that the game warden
He's a
Keener?
game warden.
We'll call him Warden Keener then.
Yeah, it's either Bobby. There's brothers. It's there's 2 of them. I think.
I had
Yeah.
talked to him about
One of them
coming on the
retired,
show.
he said. His
yeah,
brother
his
retired.
older brother.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember the younger one's name.
Yeah,
Because
the
he
younger
was
one
telling
come
us
in.
rules up there that we didn't know existed and things that we were doing wrong and stuff like that. We're like, ooh,
Yeah,
ooh,
we were
ooh,
in
ooh.
trouble.
We were in
me
trouble.
and Danny pretty much went through like several $1,000s worth of fines.
Yeah. Like, I didn't know we couldn't
Well,
do
we're
that.
broke.
We're broke. Well, I'm broke anyway, but I'm broker now.
Well,
but
and
I think
here-
I could get him and that guy
Well,
maybe get on
and
the
he-
same show.
And
Yeah,
here's the
maybe
thing:
Casey
we
Jones.
didn't come on here to try to dog them.
Ryan retired. So that other one
Brian
retired.
retired.
So
Yeah, I mean, we're not trying to dog
No,
them,
they were
but
great
we're willing to at least share to them what we're seeing. Maybe it would help them.
That guy said the hardest part about fishing is taking the wife.
you know
Hey,
that
if you-
Hey, I enjoy my.
Seriously.
LJ.
Yeah.
That's LJ.
Yeah.
And number one, I kind of looked over that comment because my wife tunes in every once in a while.
Yeah.
It's always at a time when I'm saying something about her.
Hey,
I
if
was
you
trying
wanna-
to get my wife to go with me more because that way I could be on the water more.
Mickey, if you want to really try marriage, take your wife to the boat launch.
Oh no, I can't. Or let her direct you to backing up.
That's what I'm saying. Let her help you launch and
That
load
don't
the boat.
sound like Burton. It don't sound like
How about this?
The hardest
How about
part
letting
to
her back it
find,
up,
the hardest part of fishing is finding the fish. Okay.
right? 'Cause you
And
can't
a lot
just
of
go find the
people,
bait
I'm
somewhere
gonna tell you
like that.
where a lot of people mess up is they'll fish a lake 2 or 3 times and they catch a fish. Well, they go to that same spot time after time after time, and then if they ain't there, they're gone. We do a lot of looking. We're out on the water a lot.
How much time does it take? I mean, Carter's is what did we say? 3,800 acres, roughly, or 31?
30 something,
Okay, so
34 to 38, something
between
like that.
3,000 and 4,000 acres. How much looking do you actually have to do on a given day?
Bunch.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So you're pretty much up and down the lake, up and down.
Well,
the lake.
Man,
you
since,
know-
since these herring have got in this lake, where you catch them at today is probably not where you're gonna catch them tomorrow.
Now they will get on some type of a pattern, and if you, this is what you gotta realize: if you're finding a pattern in one creek, most time it's gonna work in another creek. Okay.
But they may be in the same vicinity, but they're going to be moving around, sometimes constantly moving around.
Our
We see it
biggest
every
thing,
day.
if I had anything to tell anybody this time to help them, it would be the depth. Okay. You got to pay close attention to your depth. These fish in certain times are going to be in certain depths, no matter what.
Right.
All right. And if you can find that depth, most of the time, you look at that depth in these places and you'll find fish.
Yeah, the one thing I'll tell people too, one thing that we've had to do, because I love live bait fishing, that's what I grew up doing.
Yes.
But we have had to learn that if you find fish, sometimes that reaction bite, that spoon or that umbrella rig or that A-rig, trying to get a reaction bite out of them, sometimes if them fish have already fed up, that's your only chance at
Something
catching
a little
fish.
bit different.
Just something to get a reaction bite
Right.
because they're already fed up. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
So that, Mickey don't troll a lot. I've been doing more of it lately than I normally do, just because.
That was
I've
where I
had
was.
to.
That's where I was getting ready to go. And first, Ron put out the Ron. I haven't said hey to you. You're always here, and I appreciate you more than you know. You're always a very good viewer with a lot of good comments and questions. Carter's is 3,200 surface acres, but because of how deep it is, it fishes much bigger than that. And
There's a good question too.
yeah, Michael, I'm glad to see you show up. Make sure, hey,
Both
Michael,
y'all,
make,
I can answer.
that.
Michael, make sure you come Saturday so I can give you that order that's been sitting out there.
I have caught 15 stripers in a day at Carter's.
When?
Very few times over the last.
I
10
done it
years.
last year. Had Jeremy and I done a trip from a man that lived in Florida, and he was writing a magazine and wanted a free trip.
Yeah.
Honestly, and
Yeah.
but we wound up, and it's what was it, July, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The third week in July.
Well, 10 to used to. Mickey can vouch for this because when I first started Carter's, you'd already been fishing Carter's. A 10 to 15 fish day, and they'd be good sized fish, was not uncommon. It was pretty common back in those days. Now, if you catch 10 or 15 fish on Carter's, you've had
it's
an
a
extremely good day.
So what do y'all consider? Both of y'all consider?
honestly-
good-sized fish.
15,
25
20
pounds.
pounds or
Okay.
bigger.
I come before him. I'm gonna be honest with you. When I first went up there, if you seen one under 18 pounds, it was a miracle. I'm telling you, even the small fish was 18 to 20 pounds, and then you caught I don't know how many 25s, and y'all all know the story. I mean, I've caught several fish over 20 years that was well over 30 pounds.
Right.
Now, if you get one, you can ask Jeremy in the last couple of years, if you get a 25 pounder, you've done something.
Now, but do you think that now in Lanier, you mentioned gill maggots and stuff like that?
I don't know what's happening. I wish I knew. It just
But
don't
at
seem like we
Carter's-
can grow one bigger than 25 pounds.
But with all that bait,
It looks like they just, I don't, who knows? They may be
I was about to say, what if they're in there, but they've just become so accustomed to eating strictly
what are you
the
ta- what are
I'm
you talking
telling
about?
you, I've caught
the
fish.
size of the fish.
You can ask Jeremy. Most time in the wintertime, when you catch a fish, especially any of these other lakes, the striper that's they'll be long and lean.
Right.
Y'all, if y'all fish for them, you know what I'm talking about. All these boys from
We need to
Notley and
find
Lanier,
out what year that record
long and
was
lean.
caught.
And then as the spring comes around, when that bait starts going, they start gulging themselves, and that's when they get fat. That's the
Right.
reason everybody wants to catch a big fish in the spring, because they're
That's-
loaded up with eggs.
Mickey,
Yeah.
what roughly what year do you think the alewives really got started in Carter's?
that's a good question.
Because right here, the Carter's Lake record striped bass 36 pounds
That was
caught
about
in August 22nd
hey,
of
you
09.
know, that was my question.
What?
That was my question for the hat. That was my question. for the
Oh,
week.
I'm sorry.
I was gonna let you go because I thought.
Well, we'll come
He
up.
come up with another.
We'll
one.
come up with another.
That was
You
funny.
should- you
I
should
knew
have
it
told
over
me.
there.
No, he was over there digging. He was like, "I got something
I
good.
got
Let's
some.
ask this
But
question."
you know what? The heck with the question, because I know the point you were trying to make. So
Yeah.
that's a good point. So the record striped bass is 36 pounds, and it was caught in 09. So basically, what he was saying is, when do you think the alewives really started taking hold?
They were there in
It
09,
was there
but
then,
it wasn't out of control.
But it wasn't out of control. And we still
That's
had
funny.
plenty of gizzards.
Sorry,
We didn't.
man. I didn't know. I had no clue. I had
we-
no
No,
clue.
it's good, buddy. It's fun.
I'm gonna tell you, certain times of year, I don't care if I got an alewife in my boat. Certain times of year.
Right.
But as now, everything's changed. If you ain't got an alewife or something smaller in your boat, at times you're not catching fish. I mean, I
Gotcha.
made to suffer y'all because Jeremy said, I am a live bait fisherman, and there ain't a bait too big. I mean, but I've come to realize that, there just ain't that many fish in there that can eat them baits anymore. So I'll still fish my big baits, but on my planning boards and everything, I may go a little smaller.
There's times to pull the big baits. I love doing it. I love it more than anything. I'd rather pull big baits and catch one or two big ones. But we have seen that, and one person asked
Look at
on the
Nathan put the thing like he's gonna win the. That ain't gonna be the question now, Nathan. He pays attention. He's on that question.
somebody asked on the last show, what we thought about the decline in all these lakes around here with stripers, because it doesn't seem like any of them. And I talked.
See, there's Alex says in there. See, there's a Atlantic strain and a Gulf strain stripers.
Right.
And I think we got a different strain than what Lanier's got, and that may be the reason we don't have the gill maggots in our strain, because they can handle I don't know. I mean, that's a biologist question, but you see there, he's got on there I missed it, but the
best one he's found is the best fish I've found have all been Gulf strains that handle the lower oxygen well.
Yeah, I mean, fish do get beat up in the summertime with the, pulling them out of the deep water and stuff like that. That's another point we're getting at. Not only is our lake completely took over with these herring, but there's more people fishing Carter's Lake now than there's ever been.
Since COVID, man.
So
I'm telling you, any given Saturday or weekend now, and some days through the week, during the summer, you can't even if you ain't there early, you ain't getting a parking place. I mean, I never thought I would see that on Carter's Lake, and that's every single ramp.
Hartwell is on a striper decline as well.
Yeah.
And
gill maggots.
Yeah, Michael, to answer your question, the alewife is like a herring. It's a herring family.
Yeah.
And
Jeremiah Giles.
Somebody said
supposedly.
How about that? When you run downlines versus trolling umbrella rigs, or when do you run downlines versus
all year long?
But versus trolling an umbrella rig, you don't like troll. You don't troll.
Well, I ain't saying I won't do it.
One of you two.
I'm not a troller. I mean, I'd rather soak baits than anything I know.
I got you.
Okay, because that's what I'm good at. That's what works for me. Now I've had my tail kicked because I'd been unwilling to change. But a live bait will work all times of the year. You can catch them in the spring, you can catch them in the fall, you can catch them in the winter. But winter and summer, if you don't downline, you're not going to catch the fish.
That's a pretty good comment too. The main thing, the alewife and gizzard shad eater is zooplankton, and with that many alewives, you say, yeah. Now, okay, remember the conversation you and I had earlier?
There's Mark.
Plural.
Mark Fogger said
alewife and then alewives, so there's plural. So that's why you got the two spellings. So there you go. You can't have many gizzards eating all the same thing. So if you get the gizzard
maybe that's why they never come
off.
They never come back after that last big shad kill.
But that's the false thing about alewives. I'm gonna tell you right now. I've seen it time and time again. Them alewives be floating there where we put our lights out. You've seen it. And they'll have a small fry in their mouth, so big that they couldn't swallow it.
Yeah, it's just
and
the
then they
circle
choke
of life,
themselves out.
They
So
eat each other.
the reason that people supposedly don't want bluebacks, because bluebacks predatory fish, but I'm telling you, the alewives will eat other fish too. I don't care what anybody says, they don't only eat zooplankton.
Gotcha. Okay.
They eat other stuff too.
How much grass is in Carter's, and does that play much into the fishing up there?
No grass.
There ain't no grass unless you go
we got stumps.
There
and
might
we got
be
rocks.
There might be one
deep water.
There might be one little flat up the river that's got some
and
grass on
another thing we noticed, the older the lake gets, the timber that we was seeing, like used to, y'all, I couldn't go. I was scared to go down on my fluorocarbon because
they'll eat.
They'll eat the sabiki rig. They'll eat.
That's what Mickey was saying. We've seen them eat other bait fish.
But the timber is rotting, I guess.
Right.
And it's not got the timber like we was, so we're able to fish lighter line, thank goodness. But when I first started fishing that lake, I'd have 40-pound test just screaming, and you got the drag lock down, it gets in a tree, it's gone. There ain't nothing you can do about it. Where we pull all our planting boards and everything. What's good, a lot of people don't even realize it, is most of them trees are not there anymore.
Gotcha.
And I didn't take them out. They just rotted or sunk down to the bottom or something.
It is, Tim Haynes. That's a great comment. That's why I say I love when them old country boys get in here. Speaking of your accent, since my question of the week, I don't know what Hottentot is, but okay. Speaking of my question, since my question of the week got blowed up by Jeremy, but you used to make a great point. Let's do this. You remember how I wanted you to sing?
I can't. Who's he talking? Thank you, brother. I'm proud of my heritage.
That's right. There you go. That's
Do you
right.
know him?
No, I don't know who it is.
No. So how about this? I told you I was gonna make you sing.
Oh man.
You know, you come up with the Mickey. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to pick a song in your head. Don't start yet. Just pick a song in your head, and I just want you to start singing it.
You kidding me?
No, I ain't
You
lying.
gonna run? You want your show to be canceled right here and there?
Listen, I promise you, if you watch Tuesday night's episode,
Amazing
everybody
Grace.
knows that one. Everybody, I know we know that one. I want you to sing a country song that nobody or something like that. And the first person in the comments to give me the title of the song is gonna win the hat. I don't know the song you're gonna sing, and I don't know anything. I just want and just as soon as you see.
This is gonna
Oh
be
Lord
Serious
help! Y'all, I ain't getting y'all are just.
I was gonna
asking
make you
trouble.
sing some George Jones up there, but I said he might not do that. But I want you to start singing. So whoever is the first person in the comments.
I'll help you.
What about
I
some?
know it.
I can't say nothing.
You can't
I
say you done ruined one now. So give me that wink, Neil McCoy.
I know.
Now, anyway,
I know a lot of music.
here's
Start
the deal.
singing.
He's gonna start singing, and you help me out. The first person in the comment with the
promise.
proper title.
Hold on, I gotta take a break for a minute.
You got to go pee. No. Oh, they're planning.
Oh man.
Listen.
remember. I won't get it right, man. These people gonna harass me forever.
Well, listen, I can preach you off the lyrics. Hello, darling. I know. Listen. Now this is a first here. This is a first here on the Livewell. They're actually over there coordinating. I have no idea what they're going to say. All my exes live in Texas. I don't know. But anyway, so y'all, you got your plan
I
ready?
had to make sure it was gonna be okay. All right, y'all ready?
Okay.
Y'all get out your autographs, throw all your money, MickeyWheeler.com.
MickeyWheeler.com. So here we go. Making his singing debut on
You get a line, I get a pole. We'll go down, crawl that hole, honey.
give me the artist name
Honey,
of the song.
baby mine. You get a line, I get a pole. We'll go down, crawl that hole, honey, baby mine.
That is not it. That is not it.
You got to keep going.
You see that?
Uh-uh.
You see, that's what I was.
Hell, I don't even know
Oh,
this
That boy said Dale went down to Georgia. That is not it.
Is that the right answer?
What is it?
David Allen Cole.
I don't know.
I don't. Do you? Little bit.
I know Ron Darling used to sing it on Andy Griffith's. That's the only thing I
Honky tonk
know.
with donkey. Listen, we have
Oh,
absolutely murdered this thing right here. Well,
Little big town.
Nobody's
Oh,
going
my
to win.
God.
Nobody's going to win a
know.
hat. Do you even know who sings it?
No, look it
How
up.
we-
We got Google now, man. All you gotta do is look it up.
Oh, good. How about singing? How about singing the song? Hey, good looking.
Hey, good looking.
There we go, there we go.
What you got cooking?
How's about cooking something up for me?
Y'all are terrible. I don't even know.
Hey, sweet baby.
It's Crawdad Do Another. Is that the Crawdad song? Is that the name
Yeah.
of it?
Fat
Yeah.
bottom girl.
Fat Bottom Girl.
Oh,
All right, so
no.
I'm gonna give her.
Rock and roll go around.
I don't even know. Okay, so I guess that's the right. I didn't even know the name of the song.
I don't either, brother. That's the only part I know.
Do you know Fat Bottom Girls?
No.
Oh, you do, and you just don't want to sing. That's all right. There we go. All right, so we're gonna give it to Harley.
Somebody said
Harley
Andy
Cofer.
Griffith. Ron Darling on Andy Griffith.
I don't even know. That
It's
was
called
just
the
like.
Crawdad song. My wife is from Baton Rouge. That's what LJ said. And she is from.
Is
She
she
really is from Louisiana.
Is she?
Yeah, she's Go
It-
Tigers. Go Tigers.
It's a song.
Go
I've heard it all
Go
my
Tigers.
life.
I have, but you know what? I had no idea. So that was like one of the most ill-prepared singing segments we've ever
That's
done.
what
on
you
here.
get for asking me to sing. I
No,
told you.
Listen, your singing was fine. You just didn't know who sung it. Nobody knew. so
Someone said it was Billy. Somebody said Billy Pruill up there before.
my dad had the Crawdad song on vinyl when I was 5.
Yeah.
I've heard it, but good.
I
grief.
could sing Smokey the Bear if y'all want to sing Smokey the Bear.
Sing, just for us, for our entertainment. Sing
Mickey,
Smokey
do
the
you
Bear.
sing for your customers? No wonder why I can't get you no trips, man.
Sing Smokey the Bear.
Smokey the Bear, howling and a prowling and a sniffing the air. He can spot a fire before it starts to blaze. That's why they call him Smokey, and that's how he got his name.
I've never heard that.
Oh
Where did
my
that
gosh,
come
son!
from?
Y'all was
Never
not
heard
raised in the good old days when there wasn't no TV.
Mickey, you're old, man.
I know.
You're that much older than me now. So,
I grew up poor, y'all, but I'm proud of my heritage.
I know.
We used to go down the road you know, and sang and.
Look at Russ Dees. He's got his hand over his head. I know, man. I'm like, I don't
Russ.
know. I
He,
don't
he
know what
works
this-
with us. He
Oh,
does.
Russ does?
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
part of Backwoods.
There you
Russ
go. Well,
is.
Russ, how you doing there? So
I tried to get him to come, but he's too quiet. He
let's
wasn't.
see. Y'all just keep arguing over there on the comments of who called it first and got the name, because I don't even know the answer. And when y'all settle it over there in the comments, I'm going to send somebody a hat. So there we go.
But let's get back to fishing.
Yeah, let's do, because that was murder right there.
Well, that's what you get.
No,
I
the
told
singing
you.
was great.
Oh,
The singing-
yeah, right.
The coordination right there
That
was
song's
what.
older than electricity.
What are you saying now? Yeah, like I said, he's only a
I
couple
like
years
the
older than
80s
me.
stuff. You know, I grew up in the 80s. And
Could you
stuff
sing
like
some
that.
Bon Jovi?
Oh, I went to a Bon Jovi. My wife.
Could you
the
sing
on-
a Bon
listen,
Jovi concert?
listen,
Oh my God!
listen. the only
Man,
con-
you're supposed to be talking about fishing now.
the
I
only
bet you sing
concert
Bon
I've ever
Jovi.
been to in my life, I let my wife. It's been about 5 or 6 years ago. Bunch of the women got going. I said, I've never been to a concert. She said, well, next time Bon Jovi, you like Bon Jovi. Next time Bon Jovi comes, we went. And man, I'm telling you what, I've never seen so many people at a Bon Jovi concert.
So
in my
you just
life.
went like recently to one?
Yeah, it's the last time they was in Atlanta. Not the last time, but probably the time before
He's
that.
about 20 years too late for it to be really good.
Yeah.
though.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Back
yeah.
in the 80s.
Well, I just
Oh.
never went. You know.
Yeah, I know. Concerts get a little interesting when you get down there.
Oh yeah, I smelled some stuff
Who
that
let
I
the
ain't
dog-
smelled in a long time.
Yeah,
Who let the
absolutely.
dogs out? Can you sing that one?
One
I
time.
ain't done
One
it.
time.
No.
Come on.
Listen, here's what we're going to do.
Go dogs! Who let the dogs out?
Okay.
No, we're stopping. We're getting started fishing.
Man,
That's good.
I got one from Alex here that I think we can.
We can jump back on. So then let's get serious again. What do y'all feel like the state of trophy hunting these things in the South is? 30 plus fish.
Big fish. Like
Yeah, the YouTube videos on some of these spots scare me, tactical bass and stuff like that. So, like, if you're going to go out and hunt a 30 plus pound fish,
I
what
do
you
it
think?
every day.
Okay, it's just that tough right now.
I
How many fish over 30 have you caught?
I don't know. Bunch.
Carter's
Yeah,
one.
you've caught one.
Well, he caught one last year, right?
You
Or the year
actually-
before last.
And
Well,
you actually said
no, I'm
upstairs you
talking
caught
about-
one bigger than the late record, but you didn't.
I've caught
I'm
it 4 or
talking
5
about-
times bigger than the lake
I'm
record.
talking
When I
about me.
started fishing, the lake record was like 20 pounds, 20 something pounds. And
Right.
you know, I caught this an unbelievable day. My buddy Wesley, we went and caught a bunch of kidder shad, and it rained all morning long.
School fish.
And we caught 4 or 5 fish over 30 pounds.
Right.
And I know the one was anywhere between 37, 38, 39. I've been fishing a lot of tournaments at the time. And, you know, you just don't see a 47, 48-inch fish with a girth of 30-something inches
Yeah, like
every
the big
day.
jokers.
I mean, everybody thinks now they catch a 15 to 20 pounder, it's 25 or 30 pounds.
Okay.
It's not. It
Right.
takes a grown fish. I caught one year before last. It was 47 and a quarter inches and was 30, right at 30 to 31, somewhere right around in there.
Right.
And Jeremy caught one last year.
Yeah, I mean, I've had customers catch, 30 plus pounders
Yeah.
out there. But I've personally only caught one out there, which I don't fish a lot for myself.
Right,
I'm usually
right.
taking somebody. But, I would say in the last 10 years, a 20, 25 pound fish for Carter's is a good one.
Just for those of you that might have on the Facebook group
Now,
page had seen it, that picture I put of you holding that fish up. You remember how much?
That's a
that was?
hybrid.
That was a hybrid. That was a big hybrid.
Yeah, how
probably
much was
10, 12 pound hybrid.
I'm trying to get an idea. If that's only 10, 12 pounds, what an actual 30-pound striper would look
Oh,
like.
he's over 40 inches. And the girth, you see all these boys holding up these pictures and they
There we
make it
go.
look big.
School fish.
There's our school
And,
fish.
Oh, okay, there we go.
But when you hold a
get on that
big
with that.
fish, that lap of that stomach is going to overlap your hand.
Yes.
I mean, it just there. If you want big fish, you're gonna have to go to Tennessee like everybody else. Tennessee or Smith Lake or some of these other lakes up in Alabama. I mean, I ain't saying that they won't come back, but
Right.
because of the gill maggots on Lanier, I mean, we used to go up the river during the spring of the year, and I mean, you didn't have nothing out that wasn't under 14, 15 inches,
Somebody was talking about
Mongos.
Tennessee.
Yeah, mongos.
Somebody's talking about Tennessee pulling 3 pound skipjack.
Yep.
that goes back to what Alex was saying about that different strand of stripers. I've been saying for years, Tennessee is a different animal.
Well, they got
It's a
so
different
much, y'all. They got so much more that we don't, and the biggest thing that they've got that we don't is water quality.
Okay.
The
Better.
water.
It's a
Oh
big
yeah.
river system.
I
The
mean,
whole thing is a river.
I mean, it's
Right.
y'all. They're in. Jeremy can tell you all the locking downs that they got up through there, and you know the ones that everybody goes to, and we've been up. I've been fortunate enough to go up there with some buddies of mine, and I mean, it's just, you know, we went up there to catch 40 and 50 pounders. And I mean, they're there. They're there. They catch them all the time. But you know, I don't know why I've released 25 and 30 pounders in Carters thinking, you know, they'd get 40 pounders and we're just not seeing them.
Just
I don't
not seeing
understand
'em.
why.
Somebody said, "What's the if you had to throw one artificial bait on Carters?" Right now, it would be a 2-inch flexic spoon.
Oh, really? That's small.
Yeah,
Okay.
because
we like the big Ben Parker spoons in the summer. It works well on Lanier. It works well on Notley, and it either works or it scares them off on Carters.
Now, do you find that the reason that you're using them now is because you're matching the bait?
they're feeding on
100%.
They're feeding on that, you know, that 2-inch stuff.
Okay, so if you're throwing a spoon, now this question's for you, Jeremy. If you're throwing a spoon like that, what do you got it rigged on? What's your setup, like your rod and all setup? If you're
I
doing
just tie it straight to 10, 12-pound mono, just like on a bass.
just mono,
Mhm.
you no special setup.
I normally don't use fluorocarbon with a spoon. I usually don't.
And why is that? Just
I just don't see
One
that
less,
it's.
one more knot you gotta worry about.
Well, I mean, and I just don't feel like I've had to have it. I mean, I can get bites. If they're hitting the spoon, I can get bites.
Well, you're trying to get two different bites. When you get a spoon bite, you're gonna get a reaction bite.
which is what you were talking about.
And when you got live bait, you won't. I mean, y'all. All of us that fish small baits in the wintertime, we're going down to a number 4 hook. That thing's about that big, and it will hold a 20-pound striper, but you can't hoss it. Okay, you gotta let your drag system do the work. But when you downsize your bait, you got to downsize your hook. If you're using them big old hooks, and your bait is smaller than your hook, guess what that fish is going to see?
You'll see it, yeah.
Yeah, and Carter's Lake is clear, y'all. We probably got, what do you think, Jeremy? 15, 16 foot?
Sometimes.
Right now. I mean,
Sometimes.
that lake, the other Saturday, it was so clear. I mean, buddy,
What? How about this question? How about Hiawassee Lake?
I don't know. I don't know nothing about it.
that'd be the man for the question.
Fight Club.
Just give us a little bit. Don't give us your special.
No, I don't. I mean, seriously. I mean, if he's talking about,
There's some big fish in Hiawassee.
is he talking about Hiawassee and Murphy?
Yeah.
Is that what he's talking about?
Yes.
Murphy, North
Yeah, I
Carolina.
would say so. Give him, yeah.
Yeah, there's been fish going into that lake from Notley for years. And, you know, the lake record up there is like 66 pounds or something. It beat the saltwater state record.
Really?
Yeah. So that's a,
Well, I
that's,
thought the Georgia record like 63 or something like that, right?
no, that's North Carolina. The North Carolina state record striper come out of Hiawassee Lake.
Yeah.
And when it was caught, they wasn't even stocking stripers. They was coming in from the Notley River, through the dam, down the Notley River, into,
Really?
yeah.
That's interesting.
Now they're stocking it. Now they're
Right.
stocking. I don't know that much about Hiawassee. I fished it some. Right now there's good numbers of those 8 to 10, 12-pound stripers up there, and every now and then you'll stick a big one. You
Yeah.
know, there's some big fish in there. But as far as, you know, considering it a trophy fish, we can go on a daily basis and catch 15, 20, 25-pound stripers at Carter's easier than we can go to Hiawassee and catch those size fish.
Gotcha. All right, guys, and while we're here again, don't forget, we got the two, actually 3 auctions going on right now for the Herd family, for the cast.
Hold them cards up.
Hold them cards up. So yeah, here's what it is he's basically,
Is
this
that
is,
number 1 or number 2?
I got number 1.
Hey, number 1's $40 right
All right, so number 1 right here is $40. It's for $100 worth of, yeah, pass that. Yeah, got pass that. Hey, it's all good. It's for $100 worth of custom paints by Daniel Truitt's Custom Painting. Card number 2 is, what are we up
Number
to?
2's $50.
$50 on card number
I'm
2.
telling
So
you,
we've
man.
raised $90, guys. Let's see if we can get them up a little bit. And where we at on the cast?
We are sitting
I've been
pretty
dipping
at
since I was
130.
15.
130 for the cast, guys. Hey, listen, I want to tell you guys this. Listen, you'll be the only one in the world that's going to own that color. There will be
And it's
nobody in,
moist.
at least, I don't know about the world, but at least in North America. How about I put that? So nobody else will have those two right there. One of a kind right there. Might be worth some money one day. You never know. Or you can go fishing with them. So they definitely catch fish. So guys, let's continue to do that and just think about it. If you got it in your heart to throw a little dinero out there, we sure would appreciate it. And even in the comments section,
That's
you've
all
seen
I got.
Alex
I can't
Green
get
and you've
the
seen
long cut.
James Harmon
I
right
started
there.
out Copenhagen
They do
stuff,
they do trips
That's the closest
up
thing
for
I
bid
can
on
find to
Fish North
grizzly
Georgia
getting
group
so much
page.
heartburn.
And again, same thing, all that money. Alex is a really interesting trip. Paul,
Yeah.
come out from around the camera real quick for a second. Tell everybody real quick about Alex's, what you got going on with Alex's, because this is a little bit different. I know LJ's is a trip on there. You can jump on this. You can jump.
I'll push you
What?
over.
Come here, get out of the way. Oh,
What
yeah.
Alex
I don't
went
know if
back
I want to
to,
tell everybody
was
about
he
Alex's
agreeing?
trip
I guess
because I
what?
feel like I want to win Alex's trip.
Right. Well, just kind of give him an idea, kind of the stuff we're doing.
He
So-
does strapper fishing.
Guys,
Yeah.
you
Oh,
see
well,
Alex
there.
Green here in the comments.
Kinda all
A
over
few
the
of y'all,
river.
if you're on GON, you probably seen him
Y'all
post a
ever
long
run
time
into
ago
him?
as Brownies with a Z.
Huh?
Y'all ever run
A
into
really accomplished river fisherman.
We
He's got a
run
brand
in-
new
there's a
rock-proof jet boat,
Oh.
200 horse. Him and his wife, they're a great fishing team. They run all over the southeast, all kinds of rivers. And man, to bid on that trip, I asked him about it, and he said, "We're going to talk with the angler who wins it, and we're going to go the gnarliest place we can go, and we're going to try to catch the biggest damn fish we can catch."
I want to bid on it.
Who is
What's
that?
the bid?
It is 400 as of this morning.
Who is it?
It's Alex Green. He's
Oh.
a guy here.
I
in,
think he fishes a
right
lot
here
of
in
rivers and stuff.
That's what
Yeah,
he's
he's got-
They've been
Yeah.
around in Tennessee a lot lately.
He's got a boat to go places we can't
He
go.
got the jet boat.
So
That-
really good guy, hell of a fisherman.
Yeah, good deal. You did a good job there.
Hey,
Thank
tell
you
him
very
to hit us up, man. We
Yeah.
worked something out.
So definitely, guys, that's just that's just an example of some of the stuff that you can bid on over at the Fish North Georgia group page. Again, that's going to end December 9th next week. During the episode, we're going to announce the winners and also do the drawings for the other raffles. So,
Hey, I got a question.
Okay.
Alex there, and he's a guy close to our own heart because he likes striper fish. What I've been told. He river fishes, okay?
right,
All right. We like to go up the river too, but we can't go up in our boats. So,
Right,
it's hard to do
absolutely.
too. Some people, I know some people that's got two boats. They got a jet boat and then they got a regular boat. But in your fishing in the river, and everybody thinks that certain times of year every fish goes up the river. That's a lie.
right.
In my opinion, not every fish goes up the river.
They don't make that run.
Some of them don't make the front, and I think some of them now, if them creeks are longer. Now you go up and fish. I've been fortunate enough to fish Lake Cumberland. You get in some of them creeks up there, and they be 7-8 miles long.
right.
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 That's like a river
They think
down
it's a
here.
river.
Yeah.
But not every fish goes up the river. Now some of them do, and what he's talking about going from Notley to Hiwassee. Now that's no just little bitty stretch.
Right.
I think a lot of times what's happened on Carter's, and somebody out there is a lot smarter than I am. We've had several floods in the last 4 or 5 years,
Mm-hmm.
and that water in that river gets up. I mean, we've actually seen it, y'all. I've seen it in my time. Everybody knows Doll Mountain and all these boat ramps. They know where the trash cans are. I've seen the water up there. Okay. I've seen it where it was about to go over the dam. When them fish are like that, and them fish are in the river, who knows where they go? I mean, and then they could be getting stuck up there.
And ask your question
And
for Alex.
but I know, like on Lanier back during the summer, they got a 30-something pounder right down there past Jay Hooler. Some city workers found it. I don't know how big it was. It was a big one.
you
but,
said Yahula up
Chesapeake.
Dahlonega.
yeah, chest lead.
Gotcha, okay,
All right,
yeah.
but what I think some of them fish sometimes when the water gets up and they run so far up, and then when the water comes down, they get trapped, and they'll eat everything out of that hole, and then they ain't got nowhere to go.
I think y'all missed a comment that Mark Follier left earlier. He said there's and I'd already heard this from other sources, but he said that there's alewives in Altoona now.
I did see that comment. I did see that
That's
I
comment.
wonder if
That's
somebody
interesting.
took them over.
Well, they had to, Mickey. They ain't. I mean, there's no other way for
Well,
them
the
to get in.
biologists, I mean, I'm just wondering if biologists took them,
No,
or if
I'd
some of them
say
boys
fish-
come from Carter's and
People's
then
caught
took
him
them
at
over.
Carter's, and they took him down there and fished with them.
Facebook user right there. What happened to the white bass north Lanier? I have no idea.
They're
but-
there.
Well,
They're
they're
there.
stocked them back because
They're there.
I went down there with a buddy of mine catching gitter shad here a while back, and we threw our net thinking it could be gitter shad, and there was white bass everywhere.
You go to
Now,
Yellow
look at
Creek-
that
you go to
comment
Yellow
right there
Creek,
by Alex
they're
Green.
slap loaded in
Now,
Yellow
if you
Creek.
could find a cold spring within that system where the water naturally comes up, I guess he's saying that's where the stripers, if they can get up into that cold spring, they'll hang out right there. Something
Oh,
like
yeah.
that. I do know that.
Well, I think they're getting up there when the water comes up because,
Right.
you know, the last 2 or 3 years, we've just got unbelievable amounts of rain.
Yes.
And that water's, you know, if they're going, they can just go as far as they
Well,
want to
that-
go.
yeah, that's what.
How do they get back down?
That's. I know in Altoona. Well, I say, and I assume these fish are from Altoona. Is at Dawson Forest up here, just right down the road here. The stripers will run all
Oh, yeah.
the way up to the
Yep.
shoals right there.
Yep.
Actually, Josh over there is pouring jigs over there. We got him working still while we're doing the show. But he lives right there where they run as far up as his house, and that's past. You know, for those that are familiar with there, Kelly Bridge. They
Oh,
will
I've
run
seen 'em
all
up in
the way
there.
up.
Yeah.
And I mean that's not exactly just downstream, you know. That's miles and miles and miles and miles
Yeah.
going up through that stuff, and they'll run as far as they can. There's a set of shoals right there
You'd be
that they can't pass.
You'd be amazed. I learned a long time ago. Stripers will be in places where most people wouldn't think they will be.
Right,
What I
right,
was
yeah.
getting at, I think that's one reason that we've seen a decline in fish is because we've had the rains
The
and
fish
they've
have
gotten
run.
too far up the river and nobody can get to them. Now, I know folks that's been fishing at the park down there in LJ and caught stripers. I know different places along the river that people have been sitting
I have to
there.
agree with that because, in my opinion, the best striper fishing Lanier had was in that drought, that 07
Oh, yeah.
drought.
Boy, we killed them. I
That
mean,
was when
every
striper
day.
fishing was good. at
They didn't
Lanier.
have nowhere to go.
Yeah, I want that comment. So Alex was saying 30 miles is a half day for these things.
Exactly.
That's amazing.
How many times have Jeremy told our customers they may be at the river one minute and all the way to the dam the next?
That's amazing. I never knew that they moved that.
Oh man,
They
it's
can.
unbelievable.
They can.
In that short a period of time.
Is the stereotype not true, though, in concerning stripers and some of the bass fishermen can say it like this, and I'll say it in front of y'all. All them things do swim and eat.
So they're going to swim and swim and
Well,
swim to the 5 foot, or
Sir,
What fish don't?
Well, I mean,
Right.
sir,
I mean, you know, and people think they won't hold in structure. I can take you to a place along Lanier that I've caught fish at for 10, 15 years. I pull by the same dock. I ain't gonna say where. Other boys done the same thing, and you get a fish there every time.
well, stripers love standing timber. You know,
Really?
But they won't stay there all the time. They're gonna go where the bait is, where the food is, where the best water quality is. I've often told, you know, we like to go up the river a lot and fish. We like to go in the back of the creeks a lot. But I'm gonna tell you this: if we've got all that rain and that thing's sustained out, you better fish the main part of the lake if you can.
the reason I feel like our fish move as much as they do now is because of those herring. Those herring move, the fish move with them. When it was a shad, when it was nothing but shad, you found the bait would stay in a general vicinity, and you
Right.
could, and them fish would stay there, and you could stay on.
Well, I'm gonna ask a question to y'all.
See that real quick, that comment. Alex Green's been doing several comments. So, number one, they've been above Beltway. Yeah.
Which one do you want?
Let's go to the
We'll
belt.
start with- we'll
start with that.
Beltway.
And so I agree with what you're saying. We've caught a lot of fish further up the river later in the year and in much worse condition in the last 3 high water years.
See what I'm
There you
saying?
go. And then he said this one right here. Now, I don't know where Belton 365 is. but
Oh,
they've
I
been
do.
above-
No, the-
So for
above
3
Belton
years.
Bridge,
Yeah.
365.
It's up past
Oh, okay, I got you.
Lula and all that, or before you get to Lula.
No,
Okay.
it's past Louisville.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's way on up there.
Yeah,
And
man,
then-
I
and
know.
then look at this last one. They're starving themselves trapped up there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They get up there in them holes when the water's up and they can't get back down.
They just eat everything.
There ain't
they can.
nothing nobody can do about it, but I think that's one reason that we don't see.
But I'm gonna tell you what though, I've seen it when the water come back up. and them fish come back down that river.
Oh, yeah.
They're hungry.
They're
They'll eat.
hungry. Yeah, yeah.
I guess so. What's the deepest y'all have caught stripers?
That's what I was getting to.
Yeah, what's the deepest?
Probably 100,
90 foot.
Probably 100 foot. Yeah.
Wow.
Now I'm going to ask y'all a question. And some of these older bass fishermen, I know a bunch of them. I went to school with some of them I've seen on this show.
Harmon, that'd be you.
We're catching spots right now. In the last couple, I'd say in the last year and a half or so, when we got on this a little earlier, but I've caught spots in 60 and 70, 80 foot of water. They'll be in 150 foot because Carter's is so deep. And I know y'all can't deal with that, but we're actually catching them. You know, we're downlining. Sometimes Jeremy and I in the summertime got baits down there 70, 80, 90 foot. And we're seeing the fish down there. And we're catching walleyes down there. And we're catching spots down there. And
Is that
it's like,
because
I don't know why.
No thermocline? Is that
I
having to do with it?
don't think we have a thermocline.
That's what I'm
Everybody
saying,
says
the lack
it
of
sets
thermocline.
up a little bit. There'll be people argue with you, but I've never seen it set up like Notley and Lanier
Yeah,
does.
I've heard
We-
Carter's really doesn't have a distinct thermocline.
Because
like
of the
that.
back, because of the back
They pull so
pump.
much water all the
Yeah.
time. It's constantly moving. They don't. A thermocline doesn't really set
So-
up on Carter.
That enables the
If it
spot-
did, I'd wear them out. There wouldn't be a fish left.
Well, there you go. Did y'all
Well,
ever,
they ain't much.
Well, no, but you know what I'm saying.
have you ever seen stripers at Carter's in the 200 to 300 foot range?
No,
No.
I don't. I ain't saying they wouldn't go. I don't.
Suspended
Well,
I
I can answer that because I talked to a DNR biologist one time at Lanier that said once you get past 100 foot deep, the oxygen level in the water starts dropping.
And see, that's why.
So if the oxygen's no good, there ain't gonna be no bait there. Most likely ain't gonna be no fish.
And even without a thermocline, that's just nature taking its course. About
Well,
100 foot, it's not
okay. You take Lanier, you take Notley, all these thermoclines set up between 30 and 40 feet most of the time.
good. Yeah.
I mean, somebody out here follows that will tell you that's
Yeah.
about the average depth.
What is it right now? The lake just turned over, so Lanier just got through turning over. Ryan? What is it normally?
Around 40 foot.
Around
roughly
40
30,
foot,
somewhere
roughly
around
30,
there.
40 foot.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And you can always tell
You can tell it when you
when
turn
you
the
fish
bait.
live bait.
Right.
If you
Oh,
ain't
yes.
if you ain't
All
got
the
that
bubbles.
right,
They're dead if
these
you go
boys will
deep.
tell you they're dead within it. As soon as you get it dropped down there, a minute or two, that bait's dead.
We don't have that problem at Carter's.
Yeah,
you
that's
put
what's
an LY. You put an LY. At
I've seen it
any
at
depth,
times.
any depth.
Right, yeah.
You know, at certain times of the year they'll live. Don't matter if it's deep or 30 foot or 80 foot. Doesn't matter.
Hey, I pull
That's
baits
interesting.
for 30 and 40 minutes at a time, and they be just as lively as they was. And you can't do that anywhere else.
We've got good water quality at Carter's. We've got
At times.
Well, we don't have Tennessee water quality, but we've
No.
got good water
For
quality.
North Georgia.
It's deep, it's cold. We got plenty of bait, as we've talked about. I feel like that if we could somehow get more fish, more stripers put in the lake, it would
Well-
be better for future generations coming. That's the only way that they're,
I
my
don't
son
know.
and his grandkids are going to catch them.
If not, you're gonna be fishing for alewife in the lake and not stripers.
Well,
Well,
I mean,
Eventually, the walleye get big enough, and I don't know. I know the one thing that keeps a lot of the walleye fishermen out there is because everybody that wants to troll for them during the summer, well, we got trees, and if you don't know that lake, you've lost an expensive rig.
oh, you can lose
in
a
a
lot
hurry.
of trolling gear at Carter's if you don't know what you. Where
Cards
you're
is
Did they-
not set up to troll.
okay, but let me ask you.
You can.
This.
You just got to know what you're doing, where you at.
Is it like Lanier that where there is timber, they cut it off at a certain level?
Yeah.
How deep
Well,
is
no,
Some
no,
of
no,
it.
no, no,
Some
no,
of
no,
it.
no, no, no.
Some of it was left. Some of it was left. Like there's places where the certain, like Woodring, one side of the creek. If the lake is at a certain level, you can see the top of trees sticking up above the water everywhere.
right?
But there is a lot of flooded timber
They
that
just
was
flooded
cut off
it.
at 60 foot depth or
Okay.
whatever, and just you see all the trees are all cut off at the same
You
depth.
gotta remember when you're fishing Carters, look around you. Okay,
Like in the mountains.
you're in the mountains.
Yeah.
All right. So every valley, there's a mountain somewhere. You understand what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
So most of that lake has got a mule face, what I call it, all the way around it in certain areas.
Right.
So, that timber's not much there. But the areas that was flatter, I mean, I can show you trees at 70 and 80 foot. I mean, I can show you the bottom. We're sitting in 150, 160 foot of water or 140 foot of water, and the trees are 30 feet underneath the boat.
How old is Carter's?
73s in the early 70s.
Okay.
is when it was
And
first
those trees are
established.
still standing
Yeah.
like that. Let me ask you this, and this is for, I love the word thermocline. Somebody says that, instant credibility. Well, I just said it because it's a good topic to
Well,
talk
no,
about.
anybody that striper fish has got to know what the thermocline is.
Right.
Okay, if you're on Lanier or these other lakes and you're not fishing in a good thermocline, or you're not fishing where them fish are, you're not catching.
Do you ever striper fish in the re-reg?
I have.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're in
I'm not
Yeah.
going to put my
There's
boat
some
in
in
there and tear my boat up. It's like we talked about this on the last show.
Yeah.
You go down there one day and there's water in the lake. You
Oh,
go down
yeah.
there the next day and it's dry.
Yeah, no.
You know,
when it's
we
when
can't
it's
take a
down,
chance.
That's when you want to fish it.
when it's down.
Yeah.
Getting that
Yeah.
channel.
Because there ain't but one place they can be. and
That's
then that
right.
channel.
That's right. Now, if you were to go there,
But
Would you
I'm not
fish
gonna
it?
put my boat in
right?
there.
Let's say you got a boat you're borrowing my boat. You know, this is Danny's boat. I don't care. I'm gonna put it in there.
Yeah.
Do you use the
I
same
wanna get out.
techniques,
Another
tactics,
Can
whatever
you
like
get
that? I
for me?
mean,
Can
you
get
still
out
trolling
some
live
number
bait
for
and
me
stuff
for
like that in there?
Yeah, I'd be pulling.
That out
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
There's a lot of gizzard shad in the re-reg, so more gizzards in the re-reg
That's
than
what I
herring.
was gonna say because I fished.
So
it a
I
few
would,
times.
I
know
would
it's got
probably,
gizzards.
I'd probably be using, I'd probably be pulling gizzards. I've
There ain't
heard
no
of,
doubt. If you're going to the re-reg, you're pulling gizzards.
and I've
I
heard
mean-
of people cut baiting and catching
And so, if you were gonna if you were a bass
Oh,
fisherman,
there's largemouth still.
them. Big
Right.
largemouth.
Now this brought up. I went and spent time with John Nelson today, and John is an older man, and he helped get stripers for the very first time in Carter's Lake.
All right.
Okay, and they went to the re-reg and toted gizzards in trucks and put them in Carter's. Okay,
right?
illegally,
Gotcha.
but
okay.
but it's helped the lake.
Yeah.
They ain't
I've
there
told
now.
this story before. When I was fishing gizzards, when there wasn't nothing but gizzards and things in life, we'd catch big largemouth.
In the re-reg.
No,
Oh, in the main.
I mean, son, I hung one over that. It's been about in the late '90s or something, but I promise you, its head was as big around as a 5-gallon bucket. It shook 3 times right there at my boat, and I couldn't get the net under it. But it was over 10 or 12 pounds.
Right.
And but it eat a gizzard shad. But I ain't caught one probably. And some of these bass fishermen that fish all the time, they'll know what I'm talking about. You hardly ever see any largemouth in Carter's Lake
And that's
anymore.
what you were saying. They're not there anymore. Like
I mean,
there may be some,
there's a few in there. I've caught a few here and there.
and I
but
think another reason is they pull our lake sometimes. And I've been over in the springtime when like largemouth spawning 8 inches, 12 inches of water at times.
right.
I mean, everybody, you go into Wahoo Creek or you go up Chest T or any of these creeks during these bass boys on Lanier, I mean, they're bed fishing. And, some of them
Right.
good at it.
Mhm.
And Lanier, y'all don't see the water change like we do. Okay? We
You're talking
might
about fluctuation.
flush it weight, and we might see it drop 3 feet
overnight.
over in
when they're
one
pumping
time.
out.
And as much as 6 feet. You think I'm kidding, but I've seen that much.
No, I
pull-
don't think you're kidding. I believe it.
what
Oh, they
happens?
can dump it if they want to dump
What
it.
happens during spawn season? Now you think about this, and all them fish that spawn in that shallow water, spots don't.
Right.
Okay, stripers don't. They can't spawn.
They spawn, it just don't.
But
Right.
everybody says, well, we don't have the bluegill population we had. Where the bluegill spawn?
They're shallow.
What happens when all these fish in the spring of the year and they get up there in bed and that lake drops 2 foot? Where are them beds?
Yeah, they're out of water.
They're out of water. So what happens to them eggs?
They're gone.
They're gone.
Yeah, it makes perfect
And
sense.
I know that while that lake is there, is produce power. You understand what
Absolutely,
I'm saying?
Yeah, it is. It's
But it ain't just the alewives that's hurt the fishing. I mean, it's the major contributor, I think. They're going a lot deeper. And when, and like was brought up about the gizzard shad, very seldom do they go past 40 foot. Okay, so the fish are more shallower. Used to, when I first started fishing, I'm telling Jeremy, I didn't know what it was like to fish over 40 foot deep, unless I was on Lanier.
right.
But I didn't have to.
30, 40 foot is shallow.
I mean,
for
that
us.
was it.
Gotcha.
And now, very seldom we fish under 30 foot.
That's kind of interesting, especially not taking into account the fluctuation of the water and that.
And we have a back pump too,
Yeah.
Oh, they
Maybe.
can they'll back pump water back in at night, and then they'll pull it back out the next day.
They're gonna pump that electricity.
I do not like the back pump fishing. we struggle for some reason when they back pumping. I don't know what it is. I'd rather have water. To me, that's coming from the dam back into the lake. Okay,
Correct. Pulling from the re-rag up.
up, and that lake's not deep.
it's
Deepest
not.
part's probably what, 12, 14 foot, maybe a little
20
deeper.
something. Well,
yeah.
it depends on the
yeah.
water
Out,
line.
outside of the
Uh,
channel.
So
it's
you
very
do that in the
shallow.
summertime, when our water temperature's in the 80s. Reckon what that water temperature is?
Yeah,
It's
You know,
hot.
shallow, muddy water warms faster
Yep.
than cool, clear water.
absolutely.
So you're putting that hot water back into there, and it's seeping out through the creeks and everything going back in. There's got to be a wall somewhere where that cold water or that fresh water and that brackish water, if you want to call it, or whatever
Yeah,
you want to call it, meet. And I just think it does something to the fish. We tend to struggle when they do that. I ain't saying we don't catch fish, because a good fisherman's gonna find a way to catch fish.
Right.
But it makes it hard.
Let's just say the period of time between when they're not doing any generation, and let's say now they're going to pump it into the re-rag, so they're pulling water.
Mhm.
When they start pulling that water and that current kicks up in Carter's, does it automatically just fire everything
It's
up?
like Lanier.
Sometimes.
You let them pull water.
Sometimes. Certain-
I'd rather fish than them pulling water
Certain
any day of
times
the
of the
week.
year, and it's in the warmer months when
Right.
the water temperature is warmer. When they open those gates and they start pulling water, most of the time it turns the fish on.
I got
Okay.
buddies that guide on Lanier,
Mm-hmm.
and they set their things up pretty much.
By
You
when-
got to meet everybody's things, but they'll,
Trying to set it up when they're pulling, when there's some
you
current.
get on Lanier and they're pulling water, it can get on.
Does current play as much of a role though in Carter's than like Lanier,
It would if we had something steady.
because it's not steady? So you don't. So when you're fishing, you don't have to really make those plans based upon.
Well,
that.
we can't.
The generation schedule.
We tried to. We tried this
They'll
year.
post it the evening before, the next day.
Gotcha.
So it's hard to plan around that.
I mean, when you're
that
booking
schedule.
trips months in advance, and people making vacation times and stuff
the,
like
ge-
that.
the generation schedule has proven to be inconsistent, and that's probably why our fishing's inconsistent.
And I don't know if
I
it's
got you.
because
That
it's a
makes
deep
sense.
lake, but the moon phase tends to have a lot of impact on our fishing.
Well, that's
And the moon
everywhere.
phase does everything, but really, that full moon in what is it, May? I mean, it's tough.
It changes the feeding times for sure.
Yeah.
That's interesting. So do you do any of your planning by the moon phase? Like if you're booking
Well,
a trip, do you look?
We
guy
try
says, I
to.
want to go in December of next year. Do you ever looking ahead and say,
Oh,
okay,
yeah.
let's see what
Oh,
the
yeah.
weather's
I've,
gonna be?
I've quit doing it, Danny, because it will absolutely drive you crazy.
Right.
Because there's so many factors involved that you think about all this stuff. You're not when you're planning these trips. When we're fishing every single day in, day out.
Uh-huh.
I mean, we got to make it work, no matter what all these conditions line up as. You know what I'm saying?
I got you.
You see what Alex wrote right there?
The moon phase.
Alex, you and I think alike, buddy.
Generation.
Generation schedules are the most important thing in freshwater striper fishing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and then of course you put the moon phases right with it.
Mhm.
So the combination of those two, but again, like what you're saying, it's a lot easier at Lanier or maybe some other lakes to plan by the generation schedule.
Well,
By
you
the
got to
way they
remember,
post it, it's
all right,
it's kind of hard to do in advance.
Lanier
Well-
and these other places got two things going for it. It's bigger, and they got a lot more fish.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at and I know, in comparison, everybody goes by the acreage of fish, but somebody made a comment on there a while ago, because of the depth of Carter's, it fishes bigger than it really
yes,
is.
that was earlier in the show. Absolutely.
That's something that we bring up to the biologists because of our depth. Smith Lake,
Not just depth.
It's just like they can pump back too, just like us.
Not just depth, though. The fishing pressure we have now and the bait population, all that should be took in consideration, I feel like.
That is one thing that I think gets overlooked. There's more people fishing, not just bass fishing in general. There are more people fishing now
Yeah.
than there ever have been.
And that's all the lakes.
Yeah.
Yes, I mean,
Well, I've
period.
got friends that went out and bought a brand new pontoon,
Yeah.
and
They're gonna go fishing.
well, everybody was like us, they didn't want to. They got tired of sitting at home. They couldn't do nothing, so they
Right.
bought a boat and they felt safe out there. Okay, we was as busy during COVID as we've ever been.
Right.
I caught COVID. I ain't gonna lie to you, it about killed me, but I mean it helped. I put money in my pocket. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it seemed like the more and more as it went on, and the more folks out there, the harder it got to catch. And I
Oh,
really,
absolutely.
and Alex might comment on this.
See
you
you,
know,
LJ.
he's up on the river and he don't see a lot of competition, probably especially with a jet boat. But these other people, the more and more depth finders that's sitting there pinging and pinging and pinging. And I was talking to a
I
guy
said
today.
You have said, Ryan has
I
said
have
that
said
like
that.
crazy.
Jeremy and I, if we're pulling shallow water, you can turn it off if you know the area. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't like now. I'm not going to turn mine off when I'm 20 feet or above. You know, because I can mark fish and I know what I'm looking at.
Right.
But you get like Saturday, I had 8 boats around me. You know, 6 boats, whatever it is, and them schools of fish, and they're hearing that bing, 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 bing. I think it affects them. I can't prove it,
Well,
but I think it affects them.
we've had that conversation here. I
Have
mean,
you ever
bass
gotten a
fishing.
lake? How many graphs you got on your boat?
I just got one.
How many graphs you got on your boat?
One.
That's
Have
we
you ever-
ain't like
have you
y'all.
ever
And y'all
got
don't
in
use
the-
live scope.
I'm
there,
not.
no,
I got
do
2
you?
graphs.
So
I
you
got
use
one
2D
on front and
sonar
I got one on
and down
console.
imaging.
Side image.
Side image, okay.
If you ever got in the water and had all these graphs, like go jump out, get outside your boat and get underneath the boat and submerge yourself underneath the boat and listen.
You ought to try that, Mickey. I think we ought to do that tomorrow.
Woo! Yeah.
Dude,
No, maybe we should wait till
all
next week till it
is-
cools down.
all
Yeah,
it-
wait,
it's-
yeah, let it cool down.
Hey, I baptized somebody about a month ago. I can handle it.
Go back there.
We baptized in the river. Yeah.
No,
we-
but seriously, go back there and
I
like
know
grab a
what you're
hold of
saying.
your motor and hold yourself under the
Well-
water underneath your motor, and all it does is click, 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 click.
That is an
the whole
interesting.
time.
Okay, so Alex has had two good comments. He goes, it is. I'm assuming right now he's talking about river fishing.
Which one you want first?
The first one. He goes, it's interesting. Our fish are actually desensitized. And then in his next comment, he tells why. They have hundreds of tubers going over them in a few feet of water. We catch them within yards of drunk tubers frequently.
Yeah.
So it's just a different stimuli with the tubers and all going over.
Well,
It's kinda
I
like what you're
noticed-
saying.
This is another thing. And back
They're
on
just used to
Lanier,
it.
when I, you know, used to on Lanier, you'd run your boat down there, you'd find fish, you turn your motor off, set it on, they'll still be there. Okay. Now, a lot of these boys ain't even turning their motor off. You know,
Right,
they're
yeah.
running over school fish, getting out rods, got trolling motor ready to deploy just like that, dropping them lines down, they're going bam, bam, bam,
Stripers
bam.
are different bass fish. Sometimes noise and sounds and vibrations can
Makes you
actually
curious.
fire
You
them
know,
up.
we
They're
thump,
curious.
You
yeah,
know,
they're
we
curious.
thump. We do everything we can. If I'd hang my head off the water and talk fish if I knew I'd get a bite, you know.
I don't
Oh.
doubt that.
But what I'm telling you is,
Right.
there's certain things that I think affect us that people are not even aware of at all.
Yeah.
The thumping works. I'm gonna tell you, there's lakes on Lanier and Notley, and back in after we done this trip, I had a trip in the middle of winter, and I was on 70-foot bottom, and I had bait 25 or 30 foot deep. Okay, and I knew there was fish in there, and I told these boys, I said, you know, we'd sit there and downline them, drop them down on the bottom, and you know, I'll thump, do whatever I can. I started thumping, man. Rod went off, rod went off, rod went off, rod went off. Couldn't see the fish because the bait was so thick, but they was there.
They was there.
Told Jeremy about it. We went and tried it 2 days later. Didn't touch a thing. I mean, it's amazing to me how everything changes.
It's constantly changing.
But it-
You know.
yeah.
And that's always been that way. But you know,
But in the summertime on Notley, Lanier, and I can't say about Hartwell. I know they're doing the same things that we're doing.
Right.
If you ain't thumping, you ain't catching.
Gotcha. It's interesting. Guys, we got about 13 minutes left, so I want to get them final bids in. If you're interested in the cast auction and these two Daniel Truitt custom painted gift cards, okay? So we've mentioned it. I haven't seen any more bids, but that's getting ready to close up because we're about the 2 hour mark here. So guys, if you're still interested in that, do that. I want to go to the comment that you made though, where you said that thumping wax or sometimes stripers will fire up with noise because that's the opposite of us, spotted bass and largemouth
Is it?
guys. Well, that's what I'm getting ready to say. We're under the impression that, hey, you got to be stealthy. Do you let this thumping like that ever work with spots?
it don't bother them. I don't think.
You're grinning from ear to ear over there, so that tells me yes, it can work.
I think schooling bass that are schooled up, like we see at Carter's a lot this time of year, big schools, I think it can. I think that thumping can definitely work.
Jeremy got them for us. But, when we're by ourselves, when I go with Troy and Skipper, one of us is thumping, two of us watching rods, we'll swap out.
Explain thumping for somebody that don't know.
Taking a pool stick, hitting on the bottom of the boat.
It's that dunk, 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 dunk.
Well, Skipper's got the
There's a guy in
rhythm
Texas
to it.
now that makes up a thump box. And
It's like a hammer, but it ain't the same.
It's a box with a
got
mallet
one.
hammer inside of it. And it's got a motor in there, variable speed. You hook it to a battery, and it sits there and it thumps.
All
for you.
day long. We bought that because, we're by ourselves. And when we get customers with fish on, we got to get their fish in the boat. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes,
So we can't just sit there and thump and let them handle everything. So, and what happens when you thump, a lot of times if you quit, then fish leave.
Really?
I mean, leave completely. And good luck on getting back on them.
I find that interesting.
I'm telling you, there's a lot more to this than people think.
Well, thumping is just like anything else. Sometimes we've seen it work. We've seen it where you had to do it.
It
we've
does
seen
not
times when
work well on Carters, and I think it has something to do with the depth.
Good
Because
deal, Michael.
when our fish are on 30 and 40 foot bottoms, it won't work. They run.
I will say this that and Michael's had a question. Michael Temple's had a question earlier. He was asking if y'all use live scope and all. They actually made the comment that they don't. They both have one sonar. They use that one unit and side imaging, down scan sonar
And map.
and the map. So
I would love to have it, but I've been told by y'all and just about everybody I talk to that it's only good for around 30 feet depth.
Now, I don't know that. I guess that makes sense though.
I can see the fish on my sides with my side scan. I can see them underneath my boat. And I don't want to spend the money if, because basically what we're doing downlining, we're fishing 30 foot and below.
Yeah, that's interesting. I didn't even think.
So
about
I
that.
didn't
Is that
think-
how it works, or
Yeah, it's a little bit more effective than that.
Well, now I'm
But
talking
if it's
people
down
that fish
60
every day saying that
60 and 80 foot would it work?
No, not really.
down
Gotcha.
or
Yeah.
out.
No.
Gotcha. Let's see. Well, I've seen several. Okay, Alex Green, the thumping is like a group. Okay, you're on that, Alex Green. Sounds like a distant group of fish popping shad and
Yep.
just shifts their mood. Has always been his thought.
Well, I've heard that.
Farmer. Yeah,
I've heard that, and then I've also heard people say that
deep cup
the
stuff.
hatcheries that these fish come from, they got feeders that they feed them.
I've heard that too.
And a lot of times they'll go over there and beat, the feed will get hung up in the feeders, and I've heard that they'll beat on the feeders to knock the feed down in there.
So they're conditioned.
They get trained to that sound. I've heard that. I don't know how you can prove
I've
it,
told
but I've
my
also heard what he's saying.
I've told my customers this and before, and this is the truth. I've watched National Geographic all my life.
Okay.
And
Oh, Lord.
there's a lot of people overseas, the way they fish, they take palm leaves and stuff like that and beat the water. Now, whether it be fresh water or salt water, it's irrelevant. But they'd beat the water, and a lot of them, as the fish would come up thinking that was an injured fish, they would either spear or knock in the head, and that's how they fished.
That's
You
interesting.
can look
There you
on
go.
National Geographic. I'm not telling a story here.
No, I believe you.
But I think it's the same purpose.
Is that how you fished when you first started?
I'd try to do anything.
Well, back in the Stone Age days.
Hey, I grew up when the telephone was a real thing.
That's right. You actually had to do the.
Well, that's
you had to
just
do
like,
that thing.
That's just like sharks, though. I mean, when they go out there and then they stop and then they sit out there. You know,
Well,
seen
they're-
them on them TV shows. And then sometimes when they're diving, they don't chum the water. And then all of a sudden they're like, "Well, we got a shark coming in," because curiosity.
Yeah.
You know,
Mhm.
and so
Just something different in the water sounded.
They've actually
Yeah.
got other
Yeah.
things. A lot of this stuff that we get on the near comes from Texas. The thumping probably, I think, originated over there. And they've actually got another thing.
Texoma,
Lake
Lake
where
Texoma.
they take a trolling motor shaft and they bend it. And they got the props going right at the top of the water. And you can look on YouTube. It's on YouTube. And it's sitting there spinning around and around, creating the same thing as the thumping. And they say it's working.
Have y'all experimented with the hydrowave bait fish sound?
I have.
What's your opinion on it?
I haven't really seen it make a difference with stripers. The thumping, the beating on the bottom of the boat, even though it's annoying, that seems to work more than anything. I don't do it all the time, but if I got fish under the boat and they're coming up and they're looking at my baits or maybe they're down there but they're not coming up, first
Right.
thing I'm gonna do is start beating on
Yeah,
the boat,
that-
or I'm gonna
that-
turn my thump
yeah.
box on. and just see if some kind of sound or something will trigger a bite.
Box.
Oh, you didn't hear what he said?
Yeah,
It's a mechanical box. Yeah, tell him what
I
it
should
is.
have brought it.
It's a box. It's like an old.
Got a hammer in it.
Yeah, it's just
And
got
a
a
motor.
mallet. It's got a mallet hammer in there, and with a motor, variable speed. The guy, he's got a company. It's called Thump 'Em Up, and he makes these thump
And
boxes.
you just cut it on and it just.
You hook it to a
It sits there
battery.
and
You
it
got a
takes,
remote.
that
you
motor
turn it on and
spins.
off.
It's got an arm on it and it spins, and every time it comes down, that hammer goes up and down. Bam, bam,
It's
bam.
it's
That's
pretty.
interesting.
Well, it's pretty nice because when we're
Damn, Danny, why
fishing,
didn't we come up with stuff like that?
well, we're
Yeah, I know,
I
right?
mean, you gotta be- hey, look, how would stuff get invented? Y'all know how Velcro and stuff like that got invented? It was a bird hunter. Did y'all know that?
I did not know that. Explain.
The kookaburras, what we call kookaburras.
Uh-huh.
Well, y'all can say it the way you want to. I'm going to say it the way I announce it, okay? But it got sticking on his pants, and he had an idea, and that man invented Velcro.
where did that come from?
From the kookaburra sticking.
No, I'm
Yes.
saying where did you get?
I'm just telling you, fishermen and huntermen has always adapted, have they not? I mean, look how we started from the longbows and the Indians and spears and arrows to what we're shooting today.
Right.
And
Those
the
of
fishing
y'all who-
equipment, has the fishing equipment not went up?
Those of y'all who deer hunt and turkey hunt and stuff like that, y'all are no longer referred to as hunters. Y'all are huntermen now.
Hunterman. We're a hunterman.
You got fishermen.
HUNTERMEN. Y'all are huntermen.
Y'all can call me country whatever you want, but I got common sense. That's what this world is missing today.
It is.
There's a reason for everything.
Yes, I agree.
Understand what I mean? Stuff don't happen by chance.
Right. Well, I mean, it's tried and true. You figure something out. No, that's
I
awesome.
mean, look at the deer stands from where we started at to what we're hunting in now. Look at the boats from where we was to what we got now. Look at the
Yeah.
depth finders.
Well, I can tell you, you can walk back up here in the woods, and there's an old deer stand. It's a 2x4 that was just leaning against a tree back in the day. That ain't no telling how many deer that stand has seen.
But what
that's
I'm-
where we come from.
What I'm trying to say is, as time goes on, and our minds, we think,
Well,
and then we come up with stuff. I mean,
We're always trying different stuff,
I'm
man.
telling
yeah,
you,
seriously.
if you ain't trying, you just ain't catching.
Listen,
you got to be willing. If it's one thing I can offer to advice, just because it worked one day don't mean it's going to work the next day.
That's
Now,
right.
and we're creatures of habit, man. We get in a routine where we get lazy.
Yeah.
We expect, Jeremy and I expect to go out there and put the green light up, throw the net 4 or 5 times, load the bait tank, pick the cuttings up, and go catch fish. But you get out there, some of these guys get out there and they'll say, well, it
Sounds
won't take
easy,
about
don't it?
30
That's
minutes.
right, yeah.
30 minutes to catch bait. You get one of these moonlit nights, or you let a front blow in, or you let something come. And
then
you're
just
out there
catching the
for
bait,
3
yeah.
and 4 hours, and we talk about all this bait we can find. You can't find a stick. I
Yeah.
mean,
Oh,
man,
I want to say a few things before we have to log off. But one thing I want to say for.
Hey, we'll run late. Y'all are doing good.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Well, I just want to make sure to take the time to thank all of our customers that we've had over the last couple of years.
exactly.
We've had some good clients. A lot of them that have, they're not clients anymore; they're friends.
Right.
And we appreciate that. And we also wanted to let people know about our gift certificates.
Yeah, absolutely.
This time of year, a lot of people are looking for something to buy the angler in their life. Maybe
Yeah.
somebody it's hard to buy for. So we offer gift certificates this time of year for trips. If you want to give your friends or loved ones a fishing trip,
And
you
where
can,
can they find that?
just call me or look us up on the website and get all our
They
information on
can
there.
do that on
Yep.
that. And what's that website again?
It's www.backwoodsfishingguide.com.
I got you. So that's
I want to say
cool thing.
something. I normally don't brag on folks.
You want to say something?
I know. He's been quiet all night. Ain't he?
He's talking all night. What are you talking about?
Hey,
But
we're gonna
I
have to come
appreciate
back
Jeremy.
again just where I can talk.
I really do.
Oh, we appreciate
Uh,
you.
Oh
Yeah.
man,
Jeremy, for a young man in this business, he's worked hard to get where he's at,
Yeah.
and he's like the rest of us. We've all took our lumps,
Right.
started out, and it ain't no easy thing doing what we do.
Yeah.
Everybody thinks they want to be one until you get out there and you go through it's
That's
got
right.
highs and lows, and
That's
there ain't
right.
nothing more than we want for every customer that gets on our boat to catch the biggest fish of their life.
That's right.
I promise you, we're trying as hard
everything's
as we possibly can.
everything's gravy until you go about 2 weeks and you can't catch a fish. And then you start doubting and questioning everything. Why am I doing this?
You ain't
We do
doing
it because we love it. But you're
Right.
right. Everybody, everybody goes through the same thing. Whether you're guiding or you're fun fishing, everybody goes through the same. We just go through it more because we're out there more.
But we work hard,
Yeah.
and it is a job. You get about 3 hours of sleep during the day, and you get about 3 hours of sleep in between times, and that's about all you get.
Yeah.
Summertime, I mean, we
People think
we
it's-
fish 6 days a week, and we're up at 3 o'clock going to catch bait every morning. So, but we work. We appreciate our clients, and
Right.
that's why we work
on
hard.
days
for
we
That's
just
awesome.
don't load the boat and go home. On days when we struggle, I mean, there's been days out there we stay out there at 4 or 5 o'clock. We're looking.
Yeah.
We're
absolutely.
trying. And
Well, that's the mark of a good guide.
well, I hope.
Well, and
I
me,
mean,
me and Mickey and Russ and Lynn, we've all worked good together. And on a small lake, we feel like with us spread out and talking, communicating, good, honest information, we really can help each other. And that's why we feel like this is the state that we're at with the lake.
Yeah.
We're doing all we can do. We need more fish. We need that bait population controlled. The lake needs some things, I think, for it to continue to be a trophy striper lake.
Yeah.
Um,
And
But it's still, with all that being said, you can't go nowhere else right now and catch the fish that you can catch in Carter.
I believe that. 100%.
But you might go to Carter's for a week straight and not catch one.
Yeah.
Well, you got to put the time in.
You got to put the time in.
And that, everybody's got we do 5-6 hour trips. We do trophy trips, and when you do that trip, everybody, it's their day,
That's
And-
right.
and-
you got to make them feel like
And there
they're
ain't
going,
no more pressure. If you want to feel pressure, you get some little kid looking at you over there with them big old eyes, and
yes.
you talking about something that'll melt you. And I mean, I've seen times when I would literally want to jump in that water and go down there and hook one of them fish.
Yeah.
If I could, I would.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I do 100%.
But people don't realize that part.
Yeah. Well, I tell you, if you're watching, look them up, guys. www.backwoodsfishingguides.com. Correct? Is
Yes,
that right?
yes.
You can find them on Facebook, Instagram. Paul's got it put up there right now. And one question, real quick: how much is a trip on Carter's with Backwoods? I tell you, won't you, Michael? When you come in Saturday, first of all, yes, we still have the raffle tickets, and we still have those. And when you come in Saturday, let me give him your number.
Yeah.
Put him in. I'll give you Jeremy's number, and you can get in contact with him and all that. So, but anyway.
Yeah, Mark knows a little bit about Carter's, and my
Being
buddy,
humble?
my buddy Matt's texting me. We love you too, Matt. Just let him know that.
There you go. That's awesome. So, guys, look them up. And I tell you what, we talked to a lot of people on this show. These two guys got a lot of passion, especially about Carter's. And after this,
It's just fishing. It ain't got to be Carter's. I mean,
but you love it anyway. But you
Well,
love that lake.
I'm gonna tell you what though.
There ain't no lake like it.
Yeah, you
Me-
love that lake.
Us
You gotta
go-
love it, or you wouldn't go.
We ventured out and we fished other places. Lanier over the years, Notley, Hiawassee, Chateau. Hartwell. We fished all these lakes, and by fishing these other lakes, seeing their fisheries and how their lakes fish has kind of, I guess, opened our eyes or enlightened us a little bit more about where we're at with our fishery at Carter's. It's
Right.
different. I mean, and it's the
We
things
just
that we've
don't
talked
have
about.
the numbers that all these other lakes do.
But you got the quality.
I think so.
And I think if they put more fish in there, yeah, it might take away a little bit from the quality. The fish might not grow quite as quick, but I'm telling y'all, if we didn't have so much bait to contend with, those fish would be 10 times easier to catch. I mean,
yeah.
there ain't
I
no
mean,
other way around
y'all,
it.
That's it.
It's
and
common sense, you know?
Yeah.
I've told them before. Everybody goes to Golden Corral, the Rhines that used to be in town, and everybody was like everybody that went in there. You go in there to gorge yourself.
That's right.
And when you get home, all you want to do is lay up on the couch. And you didn't go eat rinds and had to go back to work. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Mickey, you better
and
be
these-
quiet, man. We're going to have to go eat. man. We're
These
gonna go to
fish are the
Waffle House.
same
Waffle
way, y'all.
House, oh, yeah,
When they eat, they just can't keep eating all day long. You know,
Yeah, they can take a break.
So when you got that much bait and they can open their mouth and it just runs out their gill plates, and if you'll look at striper, that's their ambush. You know,
Yeah, they're going
I
through it.
mean, they're opening them gill plates and they just soak in everything they can swallow at one time. A bass will do the same thing. You
Yeah.
know, they don't just single out one little bitty predator. They're going to eat all they can get.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
when they get full, they're not going to bite a hook.
Got to take a break for a little bit. So yeah, that's totally, that makes perfect sense. All right, guys.
Hey, I got to say something about my good Lord.
You can always say something about him.
Love everybody. Enjoy the outdoors, but remember, God always comes first.
There you go.
And I'm thankful He's my Savior. And if you ain't got nowhere to be on any Sunday, Jeremy's a pastor, I'm a pastor. We'd love to have you at Pleasant Hill Baptist Church in DeLonga or Nimberville Baptist Church in DeLonga. We pastor both of them. And
That's right. I forgot y'all's in Dahlonega.
well, he's not. He's in Jasper.
I live in Jasper, but
But,
Your church that you go.
But the reason
No,
we're
it's in
able to
Jasper.
do all
It's in
this is because our good Lord gives us the help too.
That's right.
And
That's
I'm
right.
just thankful that He's give us the. There ain't no telling how many trips out there on the water that we've got to share our testimony or something like that. And but I appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah.
And
No, that's awesome.
I got to say it, man. I mean,
Listen, you're welcome to say that anywhere, anytime.
You promote fishing, you can promote hunting, but in a day and a time we live, the most important thing is the Lord, and I'm a firm believer.
Yeah, and we are too. And I'll throw that out there. If you don't want to make the travel up to Jasper, Dahlonega, you can go to Etowah right here.
Yeah.
As the crow flies, we're there every Sunday as well. So, guys, again, we're gonna end this up. It's late, and I know a lot of the older viewers have already gone to bed. I'll rag them a
I
little
got
bit
to
later.
fish tomorrow, man.
And y'all got to go to work. So we appreciate you guys. Now listen, next Thursday night, we're gonna have a special. What is Tad's last name? Murdoch. All right, so we're gonna do a little trout episode, but it ain't just gonna be about trout and everything. We're just gonna talk fly fishing stuff. We're gonna talk all that, but he's also a fisheries biologist, so we're gonna be able to pick his brain. And I'm sure even you bass guys that be watching, I'm sure if you've got a bass related question as well, he can answer those. So a good little curveball, striper tonight, trout next week, and that'd be really good. Again, we're gonna announce the winners of all the guide trips next Thursday night. We'll do the drawings for the 2 raffles. I will get in touch with the winners of tonight's auction. We appreciate you guys stepping up and doing that. And again, Jeremy and Mickey. I thought that was me.
Sniping him.
Oh, he sniped it. Bobby Underwood, 145 cast. Hey, there you go. Just like on eBay.
I don't
Wait
know.
to that last minute right
How much
there.
longer do you want to give him?
Well, I'm getting ready to go home and go to bed. I'm tired.
Jeremy,
So that's it. So we can just cast that. So
What?
we'll talk after the show. I was thinking about doing something.
We'll talk after the show. There you go. We'll do that. Guys, hey, listen, we appreciate you taking the time to join us
Oh,
tonight.
Temple's 160.
Okay, well, we're still going. So if you go
How
get the
long y'all
bids and
gonna
you're
run
going
this?
you gonna get listen, that's for just tonight during the show. So you guys right here, listen, while I'm doing my closing, if you want to make a last minute bid, you can do that right there. So
Guide trips end next
next
12th.
night, it's going to be on the night. The guide trips end on the night. The raffle drawings will be on the 9th, and then we'll make sure we get that money to the family. Again, 100% of all the money goes to the Hurd family. So, guys, we appreciate it. You make sure you join us tonight. I appreciate both you two guys. I enjoy when y'all come down here because it's like the time flies. The time flies when y'all talk because
Well,
you're
you
very
don't.
passionate.
Anybody that loves fishing, they don't. They
It's
just
easy.
all they need is a starting point.
It is. And so definitely, guys, I'm going to give you we got 2 hours. Y'all got 9 seconds for your last bid right here. So at 2:07, we're going to end it.
4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
All right, guys.
Later.
It is done. We'll appreciate it. We'll see you next Thursday night.